March 11, 2026 regular township committee meeting of the township of Waterford called to order at 7 p.m. by Mayor Stephanie Jones-Freitag. Notice of date and time for this meeting appeared in Resolution 2026-7 dated January 5th, 2026. This notice was sent to the Courier Post and Township Gazette newspapers as a legal notice and sunshine notice in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. It is also posted on the bulletin board in this building. Anyone from the public wishing to speak will be permitted to do so during public participation portions. The agenda has been posted on the township webpage and bulletin board in this building. Please place all phones on mute to alleviate the disruption of the meeting. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we ask for your peace and protection over those affected by the war in Iran and conflicts around the world. Bring comfort to families, wisdom to leaders, and safety to those in harm's way. Guide this council tonight as we make decisions for our community. Give us clarity, humility, and wisdom to serve our residents well. Bless the people of our town, their families, and their homes. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Committeeman Downey?
Here.
Committeeman Giangulio?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Wade?
Here.
Committeeman Yukas?
Here.
Mayor Jones-Freitag.
here.
Professionals, we have David C.
Let's
Patterson,
sit there.
Esquire. Township
You all right?
Solicitor. Daniel Cormany, Administrator and Waterford Township Police Chief. Dawn Leapka, Township Clerk. Deb Shaw-Blummy, Deputy Township Clerk. Danelle Bright, Chief Financial Officer. Vincent Renzulli, Superintendent of Public Works. Michael Doherty, Administrative Assistant to the Committee. Jeff Hansen, Township Engineer with ERI.
Presentations, we have none. Closed session, there's none at this time. Does anyone have any items to be added to the agenda?
Mayor, I have one. It will be Resolution 2026-112. It's a resolution authorizing the hiring of an A laborer, level 1, for the Township of Waterford Public Works Department, Armando Garcia Jr.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Second.
On a motion and second to approve the minutes as presented, regular meeting, February 11, 2026, closed session, February 11, 2026. Can I have a full vote, please?
Mr. Doney?
Yes.
Mr. Giangulio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukas?
Yes.
Mayor Jones-Freitag.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Adoption of ordinances. Can I please have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2026-5?
Motion.
Second.
Ordinance 2026-5, an ordinance of the Township of Waterford establishing guidelines, conditions for restaurants and certain alcoholic beverage retailers and manufacturers for services, food and beverages in designated outdoor spaces. I will now open the meeting to the public for comments regarding ordinance 2026-5. Public comments? Those for public comments. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Doney?
Yes.
Mr. Giangulio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukas?
Yes.
Mayor Jones-Freitag.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Ordinance 2026-6, an ordinance of the Township of Waterford repealing Chapter 79 of the Code of the Township of Waterford, captioned Affordable Housing, and replacing it with a new Chapter 79 of the Code of the Township of Waterford, captioned Affordable Housing, to address the requirements of the Fair Housing Act and the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls, UNHAC, regarding compliance with the Township of Waterford's affordable housing obligation. Did I need to open for that? Did you get it?
Did we do a motion and a second on this?
No.
We did for that. We did for that one. Can I have a motion and a second for that one? For 2026-6?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. I can now open up the meeting for the public for comments regarding ordinance 2026-6. No comments? For the public, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Doney?
Yes.
Mr. Giangulio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukas?
Yes.
Mayor Jones-Freitag.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Can I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2026-7?
Motion.
Second.
Ordinance 2026-7, ordinance amending ordinance 2026-3, establishing salaries and wages of certain officers and employees of the Township of Waterford, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, effective January 1, 2026. Opening for public comment on ordinance 2026-7. Comment? Closing for comment. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. D'Imbrosio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukas?
Yes.
Ms. Jones Freitag?
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Committee reports. Beth Hanson?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a report dated March 9th, 2026. I'm on the other side of the room tonight. It's a little foreign to me as well. Then he said I smelled bad, so he said I just a little bit. But first item is Pamela Court and Sesame Street. That should be starting within the next month. We still have to finalize the easement arrangements for the pipe that's going to go down between those two homes to the Bubbler Inlet. That was never, I imagine, I did get with the construction office and asked for any records or plans of that development that would show that easement. There are none. It's not on the tax map, so we have to work that out and get the easement perfected so that they can put the pipe and the inlets down there. Water runs through there now willy-nilly and erodes everything, and it's not a good situation, so we need to get the easements, but the rest of the work should be able to start. I did talk to Think Pavers with the rough weather this winter. They're a little behind. I think you could expect the project to start in early April, I would imagine. To be a more definite timeline once I talk to them. They're working in another town that I do business in, so I'm in constant contact with them. For the most recent grant that we got, the 2026 grant, all the proposal for April to do the design CMCI for, that's First Street and Tricia Court. That's the most recent grant we got. Various roadway intersections. Riverfront's been back in touch with us now that the weather's broken. Randy had a pretty extensive punch list of things that they need to correct. We still need to do the final payment. We're going to wait until the punch list is done to do that. I would imagine that they'll be out doing punch list work within the next couple of weeks. The Raritan Bartram Avenue intersection with the pole relocation. I did reach out to the county. I didn't get any response back on what the status of that pole relocation application is. I'm going to reach back out again this week so we can get that moving. What else we got here? I was looking for input. The 2026 CDBG grant is due on, I believe it's March 27th, whatever the last Friday is in March. We have a resolution on this evening. I'm just looking for some clarification on what type of project we'd like to apply for. Typically the grants run in the $60,000 to $70,000 range. Do we have any ideas, Chief? Or
I'm sure, I mean, senior-wise, I think we've done better than we can the senior center.
yeah, we have 2 projects pending there with the painting and the other bathrooms. So
How about we use that for the fields?
Well, we have the grant that was not last year's grant, was not approved.
Oh, the FOB
We just
system.
roll over that.
What were we trying to do then? What was that?
It was new, like, blocks like we have here. with the
FOB system?
digital locks, the FOB
Okay.
system. That was one of the items.
That was one of the things, okay.
That's what we applied for last year, we didn't receive it, so I mean,
So, yeah, it was the same application as last year.
I think the funding was curtailed somewhat last year. That might have been, it seemed to be the reason that we didn't get a grant last year. The funding was
Yeah,
cut.
yeah.
You want to try for the same application as last year?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, we can do that then. So whatever language has to go in the resolution, you can take care of it. Thank you. The DCA application for Ritter Field for the rehab of those fields that went in on February 12th. That's been submitted. It usually takes a couple months for them to, I think they release them in like May or June. So we'll let you know as soon as we know anything on the status of that grant application. That's for the, to rehab a couple baseball and softball fields over there. FY27 community project funding, that's a federal grant program. Danelle was kind enough to put together a pretty nice application package. We've put some maps together and some estimates for her to provide support, and that's going to be for the water main extension along Haynes Boulevard. We figured probably a $2 to $3 million project. And then the idea would be to maybe apply for the sewer for next year, and then we also have 3rd and Jackson water main extension on the radar for future projects. But this year we just submitted for Haynes Boulevard water main extension. The Colgate Road interconnection, the shop drawings have all been reviewed. They sent in some revised ones. They've been approved. I expect the construction. There's lead time on some of the materials. They're actually going to instead of getting a prefab vault that's pretty deep, they're actually going to pour it in place. So that'll cut down the lead time on that, but a lot of the other mechanicals have some lead time, so he's going to be over there starting work within the next couple of weeks. Just don't know when it'll be finished. It'll depend on the lead time on those materials. It should be done sometime in the spring though, depending on when he gets that stuff. Tony here, he just reached out to me yesterday. He wants to get it going. We submitted the last, I hope, round of revisions to the infrastructure map for stormwater, pending DEP review. It seems like every time we send them in, they come back with more comments. I anticipate this should be the end of that. And then we have to replace all the non-compliant heads and grates within the next 2 years, I believe it is. There's money in the budget for that. That was all inventoried when we did that map, so that'll be a future project as well. Once this map's done, you can just get a number and put out a pretty simple quote package to do that, because everything's the same. It's just going to be swapping out grates and heads, and that's all the project entails. The Thomas Richards dugouts, we were under the understanding that the committee wants to go forward with the prefabricated dugouts from Playmore. I have one of our engineers working on the last couple of weeks putting together a set of plans. You're still going to have to put pole or pier foundations in for the steel posts, the concrete slabs and benches, all the typical stuff you would see in a dugout. We should be done with plans this week or early next week, and then we'll work with Sean and Danelle to put out a bid to secure a contract to construct those. The one thing I will say about that is the dugouts themselves have a 10 to 12 week lead time, so it probably at best will be a summer project. There's no way around that. The manufacturer says it's a 10 to 12 week lead time on manufacturing the dugouts. I imagine all the other components would be able to be secured prior to, or with less lead time than that. And then I just talked to Landberg Construction yesterday about the municipal building parking lot. He's looking at early to mid-April to get out here. He's eager to get out and get that done. It shouldn't be I'd like to coordinate that with everybody. Obviously, we don't want to do that when there's something going on here like court or what have you. Well, I'll talk to the chief and Doc, and we'll coordinate that so that the milling and paving is probably a 1 or 2 day operation. We'll just schedule that for a day when it's going to cost the least amount of effort to everybody. And that concludes my report for this evening, unless anybody has questions, comments.
Jeff, do we ever go any further? Maybe you, me, and Vinny had met a couple of years back about extended sewer up to Jackson Road. Did we ever go any further with that?
Sewer out to Jackson Road?
Yeah, we were talking, trying to get sewer out to Jackson Road. The one day we met, we were talking about running the sewer through like where that tunnel was.
We haven't gone any further with that. That would be part of like when we decide to extend the sewer. That would be part of the feasibility. You're talking about with the pump station and all that, and then going under the railroad. I do remember that. But once we get into more nitty-gritty with actually going forward with a sewer main extension and seeing what uses we're even anticipating, so we can get flows and knowing what we're actually looking at with main sizes and stuff like that, we would do it at that point in time.
Okay, thanks.
The other thing I did want to add is I'm going to have a proposal for you as well soon to do the second. We want to get the second road intersection list. There's some leftovers from the first list, so we'll put a proposal together to put that second road program together. We want to get moving on that as soon as possible as well. Forgot to mention that.
Thank you. Robert Downey?
Sure. With the hard work of Mark Crockett and I guess myself and some others, we completed and submitted our first newsletter, or at least the first one to my knowledge, to the printer. It's fairly comprehensive. It will be mailed to every
resident.
address, right?
Yeah, every address.
Does that include commercial?
Yeah, when they do the postal route, they go to everybody that's inside the postal route, so everybody that's in the city.
So we anticipate that going out sometime in April. I would believe maybe early, mid-April. And we'll certainly look for feedback at this meeting. It's the first one. We'll only get better at it. The second one is scheduled now for the fall. So we're looking forward to that. Finance. Our CFO is here tonight to introduce the budget. And she's going to do a wonderful job of that. So I'm pleased to hear it. She and others, certainly, she coordinated, worked very hard to put these numbers together and do the best thing for the residents of the township, balance between value and cost. It's not an easy thing. We're always looking for new sources of revenue, and that's that's our job. We're doing that in a couple of different ways. Maybe next month we'll be more specific in terms of new revenue opportunities when the budget is introduced for approval. Thank you.
Congressman Julia.
Thank you, Mayor. Start out with public safety, fire department. They responded to 61 calls, 32 daytime, 29 nighttime, 1,124 man-hours on calls, 453 hours on training. They drilled on the following: ice rescue ops, Camden County Communications Center meet and greet, structural protection training, animal CPR. Clocks, return the clocks forward this past weekend. Please check all your smoke detector batteries and check them for operation. The saying goes, change your clock, check your smoke detectors. OEM, in the past month, Waterford endured the worst weather we've had in years. All township departments, police department, fire department, EMS, OEM, Public Works worked in concert with one another to ensure uninterrupted services to our residents. An incident action plan was written for each storm that occurred, outlining how all of our township resources were to be used during the storm. Again, a special shout out to ACO Senior Citizens Volunteers for staffing our reception and warming center several times during the storms. These storms highlighted the need for each resident to have a plan for extended power outages. The PD report. During the month of February, officers responded to 1,192 calls for service, issued 363 summonses, and made 19 arrests. The officers logged 2,298.2 hours on patrol, traveled 10,473.6 miles, made 41 school zone checks, 36 recreation field security checks, and 244 business security checks. EMS, 182 requests for service, 109 patients transported. The staff completed the following training: pet first aid and CPR by Mount Laurel Animal Hospital, which they have also donated an oxygen mask for small animals. Assisted the fire department with firefighter CPR. For the residents using A Avenue, please be cautious of our staff and emergency vehicles. As I said, the month of February, they responded to 182 calls, 109 patients transported. They did 51 mutual aid calls and received 51 mutual aid call services. County Parks, I've made numerous attempts at contacting people there to get an update on Atco Lake. I finally got a call back today from Commissioner Nash. He's going to have somebody reach out to me tomorrow. This has been going on for over 2 months, and I explained that it's getting very frustrating because we're not getting any answers. So he apologized and said he would have something to me ASAP, and I'll report that at the next meeting. Civic and events, got a big weekend coming this weekend in Louise. St. Patrick's Day, what are the times?
4 to 8.
Atco Avenue will be closed. Vendors will be out there. Be a good event like it always is. Unfortunately, we don't have a brewery open yet, but the American Legion is going to have a beer garden set up. Anything you'd like to add, Louise?
Excuse me?
Anything you would like to add?
The Easter egg hunt is March 28th here at the Township Building. It starts at 1:30. The egg hunt starts at 12. It's till 3:30, but the egg hunt's normally over at 2:01. And I have 5,000 eggs sitting in my house.
All right, thank you. Economic development. Also, we have to talk about renewing their agreement, the WPCEA agreement. We can talk about it during the meeting at some point, but I think that's something we really need to do. So that'll be something we'll deal with tonight. Economic development, we met with a new developer about the lot across the street, across Haynes Boulevard from where the old Lombardo property is. They're interested in developing commercial. He's going to be coming back to us fairly soon. It looked like a really promising project, and hopefully they'll move forward with it. Historical, I bumped into Congressman Norcross on Sunday, and I contacted his office Monday morning to set up a meeting. There is a new construction proposal for the train station that we've been talking about. It's up to about $103,000. So I did speak to him about it. I spoke to his chief of staff Monday morning. We're going to be getting a meeting set up for the mayor and I to go over and sit with him and discuss that and a couple other items. And I'm also working with Senator Moriarty's office on that same topic. And that concludes my report.
Construction and zoning. We had 25 permits issued for construction in the month of February, so it's a little bit of a slow month. One of the things we're looking at is there's a lot of TCOs in this town that are not closed out, so a little bit of a reminder, if you hire a contractor to do work at your house, before you give them the final payment, make sure they're going in the final inspections, because I think a lot of these people probably do not know that either they had outstanding permits that were not closed, or they're living on a TCO that they're unaware of. So if you had construction done recently, make sure you're always getting that final inspection and you have that certificate from the contractor before you pay the final payment to the contractor, which is actually state law. They're not supposed to receive that final payment unless they receive all their final inspections. But we're looking into that. Reminder that hot water heaters and heater replacements require a permit, so make sure if you're hiring a contractor or a plumber to do that, you're getting the proper permit, because we're hearing a lot of times, you'll get a permit or an inspection for some other work, inspector will come through and they'll find that heaters, hot water heaters, things like that, never had permits pulled for the replacements. So make sure you guys are getting that done. One of the things we're going to talk about in the discussion section tonight, just to bring everybody up to speed, is where our town stands on commercial construction permit fees compared to other towns in the area. So if they're building warehouse projects, different things like that, where our fees are comparing to the local towns around us. So we pulled a lot of data on that, and something we're going to have a conversation on in the discussion. What else? We had 21 inspections through the zoning for code enforcement. Mr. Jukowski asked me to remind everybody that TVs have to get dropped off at the electronics center, so you can't leave them at your curb. I'm sure Andy will definitely talk about that. Mattresses have to be in bags, as we talk about always, but we can still put them out there. Make sure you put it out on your bulk trash week. We had a lot of issues with bulk trash getting put out on wrong weeks and they get covered in snow, and so that's an ongoing thing. Reminders, spring comes, fence permits, you need a zoning permit if you're putting a new fence in. Same thing with decks. Make sure you come in and get a zoning permit, because you want to make sure you get the proper setbacks and all that kind of stuff. WTAA. So we've had a couple meetings with the WTAA about establishing what the WTAA's responsibilities are versus what Waterford Township's responsibilities are, because over the years it seems like a lot of those lines have kind of been blurred a little bit. And if it's a township-owned facility, we want to make sure that the township is taking care of that. The WTAA isn't spending that money on facilities when it's kind of our responsibility to make sure that those facilities are maintained properly. So we kind of set the ground rule as to what the WTAA should be doing and what they're responsible for related to the fields, and then what we are responsible for as far as the fields. And then we were also working with Vinny from Public Works to kind of get a maintenance schedule going on the fields throughout the seasons too. We're looking into still trying to come up with a plan to fix the Burke Mill Road soccer fields. Not much has happened with that because everything's been kind of snow covered. That's it. And then the other thing that I just wanted to bring up that you'll see in the newsletter is I did speak with the owners of the purchasers of Brotherton Brewery, and they do plan on reopening that in May. It's going to be in the newsletter, so I'm not breaking any big news. But they plan on opening in May. They plan on keeping the Brotherton name, they bought all the rights to their brews and things like that, and they're bringing a lot more stuff in it. And they want to work with the town to really have a lot more events and be more involved in the community and host different community events there. And it is going to be this owner's full-time job, so they're diving into this head first, and it really seems very, very positive. So I'm happy to see that come back onto the avenue, because I think it was it drew a lot of people to the downtown. I think it was a good asset to our community, so I'm glad to see that coming back. It's a nice gathering spot, so, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Public Works has survived the winter and and hopefully will survive the next winter. Again, as Ed mentioned, for your bulk trash, your metal, and your electronics. Metal is not bulk. You have to call the township to get put on the list for your metal to be picked up. Electronics. We do not pick up TVs. We do not pick up computers, radios, any kind of electronic device. But you can drop them off at the Public Works facility. We have a vendor who has a container there. And you drop it off, and if it's too heavy, there's usually a Public Works person around that will help unload your TV and properly store it so it can go for recycling. The rabies clinic is this Saturday, Dawn?
Correct.
Okay, and we have good weather, so it's going to be here at Town Hall. If we do all of a sudden have a blizzard jump out in the middle of the morning, we have, when it's bad weather, we have it over at the Public Safety Building, so you can drive through. So rain or shine, bring your little furry friends, because we're going to give them a little shot and make sure they're good and put you on your way. One of the things that I wanted to note, I guess, I'll just talk about it here under my department here. The primary election is coming up. We've now shut off Vineyard Road, so we need to look at moving our polling place from the EMS over to the Public Safety Building.
We should probably talk about it under discussion, Jim.
Okay,
That's probably a
so
little longer.
put that under discussions. And Ed, we still need to work on the field fees.
Yep. That was, I forgot to mention that under,
That's okay.
yeah, we're doing our own.
Environmental Commission, we're working to get a better understanding and working, getting things moving better with the Environmental Commission. So we're going to be having a meeting soon on that with a couple of the key people. They're a very good organization. They have a cleanup coming up next month. Dawn, do you know the date of it?
I do not.
Okay. Let's see here. And on our discussions, you'll see I made a note, which we'll talk about, subcommittee for the library. Shared service, we were looking into hoping to get a LEAP grant with a salt barn. However, though, I don't know that we're going to be leaping too much in a grant since we're like, what, $3 billion short in the state. So I don't know how much LEAP grants we're going to get.
More of a hop.
Yeah, it might be a one-legged hop. But we'll see what we can do. Film Commission, I can just tell you that the filming industry is vibrant and moving along. There's a film festival up in Asbury Park. There's been several of them. It's almost like they're almost all year round now. And they're more organized towards the small film industry, the independents. So they have, from what I've seen, about 200 films that are going to be previewed towards the end of March up in Asbury Park. So the film industry is up and running and doing very well. That's it.
For personnel, as you'll see in the resolutions, you have one resignation and one hire. For shared services, as Deputy Mayor Reed mentioned, we'll be discussing that in discussions of potential shared services or just talking about shared services in relation to assault sheds. For the senior citizens, they meet the second and fourth Monday of each month at 12. There's usually have a lunch, it's a couple dollars, changes from month to month. They had a speaker this past meeting, which was our OEM coordinator, Jim Jankowski. He just reviewed that the senior center is a reception area in times of disaster, meaning it's less than 24 hours. It's great for charging, especially with medical devices and you lose power. You can go there and charge. It's got a generator. When it's hot out, it'll be cool, and when it's cold out, it'll be warm. It's not meant to be long-term. If it turns into long-term, the county has services for that. But for short-term, less than 24 hours, it's considered a reception center. And they have, like I said, meetings twice a month, so their next meeting will be the fourth Monday of the month. And you can find that information for speakers on our website. If you scroll down, there's a section that says seniors, and that'll have all their information. For the library board, we met Monday, just a couple days ago, and we discussed some plumbing issues they're having. They're ongoing. They seem to be particularly problematic from December through March. The incident they had with plumbing last time, they've had another one, but it's not quite such a big incident. But it is a problem, and I usually want us to kind of continue looking at it if we can. That is, cannabis, yes. I do have an update on cannabis. We did have a cannabis subcommittee meeting, and the subcommittee is recommending to the township committee to vote to authorize our special counsel to direct an ordinance to adopt the prior standards. In most cases, 2 licenses. There are a couple that have additional, very much into the process, so we have to discuss those 2 categories a little further, but most classes will be 2 licenses per class. We will have another upcoming, I don't have a date yet, but we will be checking schedules to have a next cannabis subcommittee meeting. And I think that's everything that I have. Monthly financial statements. Can I please have a motion and second to approve the February 2025 financial statements as presented?
Motion. Second.
Bob, can you please read that?
Yes. Clerk report, $6,235. Clerk roll report, $2,200.80. Instruction official report, $289,830. Court report, $8,051. Tax collector, tax report, $6,018,608.01. Tax collector utility report, $79,626. Tax collector redemption report, $120,039.71. Cannabis tax report, which is really, I believe, for the month of January,
Yes.
not quarterly, $898.35. Vacant abandoned property, nothing.
Voice vote, please.
Mr. Yoni?
Yes.
Mr. DeGiulio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukas?
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag?
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Okay. I now open the meeting to the public for comments for agenda items only. Please note there is a 5-minute time limit for each speaker.
Carol Vito, Middle Avenue. Last month, I had questioned about the cannabis tax report, about them not paying on time, and you were going to look into it. So I guess this is the second, the other Green Oasis report, since a holistic maybe last month.
I don't see the reports, but if somebody doesn't pay, they're treated just like somebody doesn't pay their taxes, same thing. Same interest rate.
Yeah, well, you said they, because they weren't sure you were going to look into that to see if they would be getting the same rates.
They're assessed at the same rate as somebody that doesn't pay their taxes.
So they did get penalized for.
I don't give them that, I see it. So I can't answer that.
Did she answer now, or?
So it was Green Oasis that paid in February, they were notified that they owe the additional interest.
Okay, all right, thank you.
John Howard, Anthony Road. I have resolution 2024-76 in front of me, and I appreciate that you updated us with the meeting. But here it says, the subcommittee meeting agenda shall be prepared and coordinated by the township clerk and township solicitor. And it also says, monthly reports shall be submitted to the mayor and township committee in writing as related to the above issues. Is that the one?
Can you repeat that? I wasn't, I didn't hear you say.
He needs to, is that mic on?
2024-76.
I
don't think it's on.
Can you check, see if the
See
mic
if
is
the
on?
mic's on.
2024-76.
Okay.
It says, the subcommittee meeting agenda shall be, this is for the cannabis subcommittee. The subcommittee meeting agenda shall be prepared and coordinated by the township clerk and the township solicitor. Monthly reports shall be submitted to the mayor and township committee in writing as related to the above issues.
Well, I was at the meeting, so I don't think she needs to submit me a report because I was there.
It doesn't say submit to you, it says submit to the committee, and it says in writing, so we have proof of what happened.
We could do that going forward, but no,
You,
we don't have one.
you signed it, you all agreed to this. This is the ordinance that you're not even following.
John is right. He's right.
I'm sorry, you're not doing the right thing at all. It says it right
Does
here.
it say it's public in there? I mean, we may have to have it amongst ourselves. Does it say it's public?
Once it's submitted to you, it becomes public record.
Okay. Well,
It's not, you're not having secret meetings in the back.
It's not secret
with-
meetings. It
Well,
is
when you
not-
go into closed session, that's a secret meeting. This is a secret meeting because you won't tell anybody what's going
Well, we
on.
do. I just updated you
But
on what we talked about.
You,
That's-
and everybody's told me there'll be no minutes. It clearly states right here. Monthly reports shall be submitted to the mayor and township committee in writing as related to the above issue. That's minutes.
We can do that.
How many meetings has there ever
The
been?
report's not minutes, but it's a report on what they talked about.
Well, it's similar. How many meetings has there ever been?
I've only been to one, so I was not on the committee before. I couldn't answer that question.
Excuse me, question. Dave, there's a difference between minutes
Yeah, I think he knows that.
and reports.
Yes.
So reports aren't necessarily public knowledge. That's what I'm asking you, Dave, correct? Are subcommittee reports back to the mayor as public? Or
If the committee wants to release the contents of that report to the public, it certainly may. All right? I don't know what's in, I have never been to a cannabis subcommittee meeting that was created after an accident.
But I'm saying, generally speaking, subcommittee reports of a meeting, are they available to the public, or that's up to committee to decide?
It's available to the township committee as a whole, and the township committee decides whether to release the
Okay. Different than minutes, which
Yeah.
obviously.
Okay, I understand. But it's released to you guys. Do you have a copy of the meeting? Minutes or whatever you want to call the report?
He was there.
How many reports how many meetings have ever been done? Because I know you were mayor before.
I don't know exactly, a couple, there were a few.
More than two.
More than-
Okay, so how many sets of reports have been written according to this, right here?
There were a few in the beginning. I don't remember how many, but that's over a year.
You have actually have the reports.
We actually have a summary of what took place.
It's not what you voted on.
Pardon me?
You didn't vote on the summary, you voted on the report.
Right.
I think we're attached semantics.
No, a summary could be a report of what they discussed.
It doesn't say
Summary's not a
report, the
And
report
a
is
summary
full.
could be, what's put in the report could be a
Okay.
summary of what they discussed.
For elected officials to speak, how many people does it, what's the thing with a quorum?
Right.
Three? So if you're two people, are they allowed to talk business?
Yes.
They're allowed to talk business with non-voted people?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, we need to see proof of these. I mean, it's nice that you made a report, but your report was a minute and a half. And how long was the meeting? So what can you?
Reporting on results. I mean, we could, if I try to write everything down, we talk the whole time, the back and forth.
We've been coming
It's not the
for a
content.
year over
The
this.
results of our meeting are what I report.
So can you explain in a little more detail what the results were?
Yes, we discussed the number of licenses per class.
How many classes?
There's 6 classes. And we discussed the licenses. They had been 2. At one point, there were 6 for another one. So we have to look at the couple that are in process, we have to take those into consideration. So that's what we're working on
So we're gonna do 2 per class.
for most classes. There are some where we have people who are actively in the process, and so we do have to take them into consideration.
Right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Agenda items only?
It's on.
Matt Donato, 1740 Arrowhead Drive. Just a quick clarification on, I guess, the financial statement. The quarterly report, that was $8,898.35. That's not missing any zeros.
Matt, speak up, I'm sorry.
The monthly statement report for the cannabis tax.
Right.
I know it was monthly, right? I mean,
It's monthly,
It's
that's
just
right.
monthly. But $8,898.35. There's no missing zeros there. There's no decimal point mistake or anything. That's what it is.
That's
Okay.
what it is.
I also want to commend Public Works too for the storm. The thing they did was phenomenal as far as the schools. They closed one day and they delayed open the next day and went back to business as usual. A lot of schools actually had to cancel the second day. Now they're pushing great job on getting everything kind of cleaned up. Question on the cannabis report. So what classes are you considering not limited to?
Our retail class has 2 up and running facilities. There is though another facility that's in the process, so we can't necessarily cut them out as they're so far into the process. So that's why we're considering that number. And there has been a couple numbers in our grow classes, so we have to look on that. We discussed 2 at the meeting, but we have to define that, so.
Now, what's defined by started? Because I know that none except for one has been submitted to the planning board, so I don't think there's any action.
Retail facility?
No, the class 1 cultivation.
Yes.
What
We
is
have to determine the
considered-
number, because there have been 2 numbers. Historically, we've had 2 numbers. We had 2, we had 6, so
Right.
we have to.
2, 6, and unlimited, right?
Well, yes, 2, 6, and unlimited, but define numbers 2 and 6.
What I'm saying is the question with class 1 is maybe not limiting to 2, is limiting to more than 2 because there's some that are in progress. So there's been 9 letters of support submitted. What is considered progress that you would say, hey, we're not going to do that because there's only been 1 that's been approved by the planning board and none of the other ones have actually been submitted properly to the planning board or received Pinelands approval, CRC approval, and anything else. So what is going to be determined if it's, because somebody could just come in and say, hey, I'm working on this, right? I spent a lot of money on this and it doesn't look like, I don't know if the due diligence really be done there. So what is going to be the cutoff for it's in progress far enough that we don't want to cut them off?
So the progress was really actually for the retail class primarily.
Okay.
But when we had our meeting, everything I had 2. Had 2 grow for licenses. After reviewing, we realized that at some point there was 6. And so we have to take that into consideration. We didn't discuss the 6 because it wasn't in my notes. I had 2. So that's the one we have to discuss. So there's not necessarily a progress on that one as far as how far into the process that is. More or less, we just have to actually, as a group, discuss that number because we only discussed 2, but we were missing some of the data. So.
Ordinance 2026-12, amending chapter 176. Does that have anything to do with the cannabis provisions?
Which one is it?
The introduction?
No.
That's green.
No.
No. I think you're talking about
That's the data.
the data center.
That's a data center.
Data center.
We have those too?
No, we're actually, we're not.
Very up. A quick question as far as manufacturing, so class 2. Did everybody see the explosion at Logan Township? That was on the news. It wasn't kind of like a hypothetical situation. It was an explosion at an industrial facility that had been extracting CBD oil from cannabis. They had been doing it for decades with cocoa butter, and 4, including the owner, were injured. I don't know if all of them survived or not. I'm not sure if anybody saw that. That was about a week or so ago. Has there been any thought into, as you're revising this, to start putting some protections into the community, whether it's manufacturing, because I think we're converting horse farms into manufacturing facilities now around residents. We have no water, we have no sewer for protection. These are why they put these things in industrial facilities. So what are the protections that is being discussed at the cannabis committee for the community? Because now we're spreading all this stuff into the ag district, which we all know is a small district, lots of houses and residential community, not an industrial area in Logan Township. Whoever has driven down 295 and driven by Logan Township, it's commercialized. Lots of industrial area, not forest farms.
That happened after our meeting, so that was not discussed, because it did happen after our meeting. So that may be something that's discussed in a future meeting. It was not discussed.
So no action is taking place tonight?
No.
No, we're authorizing our conflict attorney to draft an ordinance.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna, I guess, take a vote to.
Councilman Angelillo, I share your frustration. You know, the park So we haven't heard anything from Camden County for 2 months.
It's been over 2 months.
Over 2 months, frustrating, right? Try November, December, January, February, March.
Right.
Term's full.
5 months.
6 meetings, 5 months, no action. It's frustrating, really is frustrating. My last comment is, consider the protection of the community. The community is here again tonight, 6 meetings, standing room only. Don't just think about $8,800. Think about this community. Look at the people that are here, look at the faces. I'll be back.
Carol Zita, Middle Avenue. Did you have any discussion about the AG areas that you're meeting, what we've been talking about the whole time?
We did discuss it. It was discussed, but I mean, as it relates to number of licenses in each county.
What research did the committee actually do to put it in the AG to begin with?
I don't know what prior.
Only because since, like how I talked about last month, the state considers it industrial, but if you opt in, you have the choice to put it in AG. If you opted in, you put it in AG. But, like, did you research, like, the committee, when you put it in AG, did you research what it could do? We have wells and septic. There's fertilizers, there's pesticides, they're all state mandated, but they still seep into sewer, to wells and our septic systems. And whether it's nitrogen or anything, like it comes nitrates, it goes into, there's so many different things that you could look up on the state and what they require. The DEP guidelines. Did the committee look up the DEP guidelines? We have an environmental committee. Did anyone talk to them before it went into AG?
I would know.
If I may, Mayor, that's exactly, Carol, you're pointing out exactly why things cannot be resolved in 1 or 2 or 3 months. Look into all those things, okay? Ask a subcommittee to, and expect the kind of results that we might want, okay, for the township. And to address all those things, certainly it's going to take more than a few months to get.
But I'm asking, like, when you decided to put it in AG, wasn't there research back then about water, the wells?
I'm sorry,
and-
started that when you decided to.
When you decided to opt in and put it in AG, wasn't it research then, what you were going to do to surround it? It's not considered a typical farm crop, like if you look anything up about it, yes, it's a farm crop, but it's not a typical farm crop because of what it needs. The DEP requires permits to dump it in a sewer. We have water wells and we have septic tanks.
I don't think, I would just like, first of all, we weren't sitting
If I
here.
may.
21.
When we looked at it, we had 3 weeks.
I remember it was a fast thing.
We had 3 weeks. Governor Murphy said, are you in or are you out? You got 3 weeks to do it.
Please be silent.
So at that time, we had public meetings, we had township meetings, and nobody, I'm not being disrespectful, I know a lot of you, nobody came. So we said, let's put it, we have one property in all of Waterford that's industrial. That's the ACCO racetrack. That's the only one, which has no public water and no public sewer. Okay? Why that's happened that way, I have no idea. I wasn't around, well, I was around, but not water and sewer. I'm not that young. We have planned highway business, we have neighborhood business. Neighborhood business is primarily Jackson Road. Planned highway business is more the White Horse Pike, and some of it comes over to Jackson, over by United Forestry. That's how it comes in there. And then we have agricultural. That's all Waterford has. So at the time, we said, all right, let's put it in agricultural, the grow areas. We didn't really look and have time.
Ramifications with the
Right,
chemicals and
because it
pesticides.
was,
Well,
you've
now
got
you
3
have.
weeks Either you're in or you're out. And if you're out, back then it was you're out for good.
Like if you put these in residential areas in AG, it will actually take from your wells. They say you'll lose water pressure because they use so much water that you'll lose water pressure. It can dry your wells out unless your well is 300 feet deep. How many people have 300 feet deep wells?
So that was why we did what we did when it was legalized and the state was looking for towns to opt in or opt out. I'm being honest with you. That's how it
That's the
works.
problem.
Not rocket
That's why we're
science.
here now. Right.
Okay? And I can tell you, and I think your daughter would know, when we were putting in a septic system for the football, the health department wanted to know if we were going to serve hot chocolate and coffee, because they regulate that in the septic system.
Right.
And I was kind of like really blown away.
Washing your hands.
Really?
Washing your hands.
Hot chocolate and coffee?
Yeah.
But,
I want to thank
so,
Mike, Vinny, whoever did that calendar for the public works, because every administrator on the town site thanks you too. Because we normally don't have to have that question about it, but it's both trash. We'll get it put out. It's the greatest.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, committee members. My name is Shannon Targamosa. I'm a longtime resident of Waterford Township, currently residing at 1283 Old Waterford Road. I'm here this evening because I just so happened to see on Facebook a notification regarding 1294 Old White Horse Pike. After doing some research, I found out that there was an application for Emerald Farms LLC presented to the state on February 9th.
Sorry, is this an agenda item? I think this may be for public session.
This is regarding a cannabis processing facility.
There's nothing for that is on the agenda. I did give a report, but it's not on the agenda, so that would be in the public session. So you're
Okay.
very welcome to come up and
Okay.
absolutely talk about it, just not at this part of the meeting.
Okay, can I then ask, Deputy Mayor, he pointed on something saying, nobody came to a committee meeting regarding whatever agenda was before. I do see that we have a packed house tonight. As a resident finding out about this on Facebook, which comments were hidden as the time went on, I don't think is appropriate. I just so happened to get a certified letter today in the mail from the law offices of Damon Tyner.
Is this an agenda item now? Is it this?
Well, I'm just trying to make a point. This was from another township,
But
Waterford
it's
County,
not an agenda item, this is not the appropriate.
regarding cannabis cultivation.
Ma'am,
I'm
ma'am,
just
excuse me, this is not
wondering-
the appropriate.
I'm just wondering if you would put out notification like this when it comes to.
They're going to answer your questions, just gotta get it at the right time.
it's a zoning,
Just the wrong time.
it's a requirement by zoning law.
Okay, and just to relay on what Deputy Mayor is saying here.
I'm so sorry, I do not mean to be rude to you, but this is not.
I'm just trying to get,
I know,
I'm
but
here
there,
for questions.
but there is
There's a time for you
at
to
the
do another
public.
time.
You're going to be able to
And
do that.
when-
Towards the end of the meeting,
There's
there's a
another
public
public
session,
session.
you can ask
Public
anything
comment.
that's not on the agenda. This is strictly.
You can ask anything you want.
So please come up again.
Come back, come back.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
We'll make sure you come back.
Aaron Drive, I just had a question. Ordinance 2026-12, Chapter 176, discusses the zoning of cannabis. And I just had a quick question for Councilman Wade. So when the council was discussing whether they're going to opt in or out, why wouldn't they just opt in for the industrial until they could do the research, as Councilman Doney says that we are doing right now, to make sure it's appropriate to put into the agricultural district? So knowing that Jackson Road and the racetrack doesn't have water or sewer, it doesn't seem to make sense to go from there, an industrial site, to a residential area that also doesn't have water or sewer, where it could impact the aquifer, stormwater, and the surrounding community. So I'm just curious as to why the jump, because you could have opted in for it, but you didn't have to put an ag. So Councilman Doney, you're exactly right. There should have been research done. There should have been an environmental study done. There should have been some surveying done. This is during COVID too, so everybody's, I think, it's Zoom. But I'm confused that it wasn't appropriate or there wasn't enough at the racetrack, no water or sewer. So the agricultural district is where it should go, and manufacturing too, because that was in there as well. And there's no water and sewer there, but it doesn't seem like, you didn't have to do that to kind of like, if you don't use it, you don't lose it. You didn't have to do that. You could have left it in industrial, the one site, and then kind of slowly, but it seems like we jumped in
That's what they did.
at ag
That's what they did.
and didn't have any research on it. And now we are taking 5 months of research. I'm not sure we did anything the first 2 months, but 5 months of research to pull it back out instead of just saying, you know what? Hey, let's leave it industrial for right now. Let's get the environmental study done and let's look at it. We can always go back, right? We went from 2 licenses to 6 licenses to unlimited. We went from no dispensaries to ag dispensaries. So there's no reason that this council up here can't change in their first reading, ordinance 2026-12, to remove cannabis cultivation class 1 from the agricultural district. And so you have that time to do the research, whether it makes sense to keep it in ag. Absolutely no reason. There's one application that has been approved by the planning board that is a Haines Boulevard. That is not the ag district. There's not a single application that has been submitted properly to the planning board that you would foul up. So whether you're going to go to 2 licenses or not, there's others of support out there, so you're going to end up stopping somebody. So you might as well do the research, have the time to do it, put this up in your ordinance 2026-12 to remove from the ag, buy as much time as you need. Study the aquifers, study how much energy it's going to use, study how much stormwater and wastewater it's going to use. Decide whether manufacturing with propane and oil extraction processes is appropriate 500 feet from a school. Do the research. Be responsible for the community. Ordinance 2026-12, removing Class 1 cultivation from the agricultural district. It's simple. You can take all the time you need to do this right thing for the town. And if at the end of that, you decide, hey, you know what, there's no impact, then you can put it back in, or you can put 2 licenses in. But why are you doing it the opposite way? You're putting the cart before the horse. You jump right into ag. You can do it. Somebody can do it here. Somebody needs to stand up, gain a spine, and do it for this group right here. Do it for the group, do it for the community.
No, it has to do with the cannabis.
You've been up twice though.
I know, but what the very least,
I'd like to respond to that.
but with the very least regarding what you said,
Responding to what Matt said.
Yeah, real quick. I heard what you said, Matt, and I believe, and I think, as a matter of fact, I remember, I do believe you went to the last Finance Commission meeting, and brought that up.
Correct.
Whether something zoned agricultural is sufficient and okay to grow cannabis. I think, from their point of view, and don't quote me, maybe you can tell me what they said. What did they say?
It's a loophole. Waterford created a loophole
But at this
that every
point-
other town has actually avoided because they didn't put it in their ag district. So it was a loophole. And when I talked to the technical reviewer after the meeting, who had been there for 30 years, he says, Pinelands is trying to figure that out, but it takes legislation to change that. So while it's considered a crop, it does not qualify for farmland assessment. You can't do it on farmland preservation. So it's obviously not a normal crop, right? But Waterford Township, because they rushed into ag, created a loophole. And guess what, everybody? It's a cash cow, right? $8,890. Cash cow.
But they just say, at this point, they don't have any oversight on that, or they don't, it's okay with that?
It's under the crop if it's cultivation only. If there is manufacturing, then it gets kicked to Pinelands. So we know that there's applications that decided, you know what, I can avoid Pinelands if I just go with cultivation, and let me pull the manufacturing. It's a loophole. It was irresponsible for the town to do what they did, and the excuse that we were going to lose it if we didn't do it, no, that's not true. You could have just gone with the industrial and then made the change afterwards. And now we've gotten this far. You guys have admitted that there's an issue, that you need to do research, but you won't pull it back to do that research. You're letting all this stuff go. So it's going to be too late at that point. We're not discussing...
Wade's point, if I may, to Mr. Wade's points, okay? I mean, there were public hearings on this, correct?
Oh my God.
No one showed up.
We're here now, 6 meetings.
I hear you, but that's what we did. That's what I'm trying to move forward.
All right, what's the harm in doing it? What's the harm?
I'm sorry.
What's the harm in doing it? What is the harm in just pausing it?
We can't.
I know. I'm sorry. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you talking to me. Not call me a liar.
He wants you to take it out of it, okay? And you're so worried about other places, like coming and being letters and money and this and that. Well, why can't you just put a hold on everything until you make your decision? So therefore, nobody can submit a package, because you're saying once they submit a package, then there's money involved, there's this. So tonight, put a hold on it so nobody can do nothing until you research
We
and
don't have
decide.
authority to hold
So-
what goes on for planning board.
So we talked about
We
that.
did.
They're not at the planning board yet. They're not there. They're not there yet, guys. They're not there. Ed, you know that.
So I
Come on, we're not using our heads.
We need to just, we stop future things so nothing could happen for Andy's. But now, tonight, put a hold on everything to your research, and nobody can sit in nothing. You don't have to worry about people spending money and hurting a small business. You only worry about a small business with cannabis, nothing else. No other small businesses.
Hi, good evening, Suzanne Nicholson, 451 White Horse Pike. So just to provide some...
Is this related to agenda?
Yes, I'm just trying to provide...
No, we're not answering
Yes.
that thing, but is this an agenda item?
Yes, I'm trying to provide clarity to what the information is saying, that there's no approval from the CRC, there's no...
That is not an agenda item. I would love to hear what you have to say. That has to
Okay,
go
I'll just wait for that public...
Yes.
Yes, because there's a lot of misinformation being said to the person.
Is this an agenda item?
Yeah, it's about the ordinance.
How does it relate to the ordinance?
You guys submitted, you have a subcommittee, right, to change.
But that's not on the agenda.
Kristen Steckbushel, 686 Raritan Avenue. I'm gonna talk about, you guys formed this subcommittee for the ordinances, right? Isn't
That is not
part
an
of-
ordinance on our agenda. Mr. Howard had an ordinance, but that's not on our agenda right
Okay.
now.
Person 2026-11,
Yeah,
ordinance, chapter
2026,
176.
chapter, yeah, what he said. You guys submitted.
Come back up again.
Yeah, nobody, I'm not coming up again, but I'll be here all night. So in November, I was at this meeting, right, and you guys admitted, the committee admitted that you guys formed a subcommittee, because when you changed the ordinance, you didn't know enough about the industry, right, the cannabis industry. So you formed a subcommittee. So what I don't understand is if you needed to form a subcommittee, because you didn't know about the industry, but you changed the permits to no limit, if you have to form a subcommittee because you didn't know enough about the industry, why can't you go back to before you changed the ordinance, because you admitted that you didn't know enough about it, before you changed it to no limit? So why can't we go back? Why are we worried about permits or information that packets that people submitted and they had missing information? They haven't gone to the planning board. Why can't we go back to the original ordinance while you guys figure out your subcommittee and figure out what's going on and learn more about the industry? That's what my problem is. We formed a subcommittee and you admitted you formed this subcommittee because you didn't know enough about the industry before you changed it to no limit, correct?
I was in the beginning for the subcommittee meetings, and it wasn't because we didn't know, it was how are we going to, I know you all have a heart attack, chief, we have a later.
Don't worry, I'm CPR certified and I have a business in town where I teach CPR, so.
Okay, so we were talking about what do we expand on?
Okay.
That's what the
When was the
subcommittee
subcommittee
was about.
formed? It was formed after you changed it to no limit?
No, we
No,
had
it's
that.
not. 2024.
It was 2024, okay.
We had
All
that
right.
before.
And then my other issue is,
Is it related to the agenda? This is agenda time.
Just come back.
Agenda, I have to come back.
Just go back up.
yeah, I'll come.
I'm happy to hear you. I
Yeah.
love to hear everybody, but it's gotta be done the proper way.
Okay, well then I'll do that.
Thank you. It's on the agenda. There's
It is
nothing
on the
planned
agenda.
on the agenda.
It is on the agenda. $8,800. Are you telling me that? Joanne Sabasco, 1740. The $8,800 that's listed, that's one business for cannabis?
It's one business for 1 quarter.
1 quarter. So the quarter four?
Fourth quarter 2025.
We're making a lot of money.
Close the public. Is this agenda item?
I believe so. The follow-up to, report, is that agenda item?
Linda Wilson, 331 Jackson. Tom, you mentioned that there was a meeting about the train station, and it's going to be $103,000.
No, they're talking about prefabricating a building.
Who is that?
The historical committee that's handling that.
And
We're
who's
the
gonna-
committee that's handling the train
Who's going to pay
station.
for it?
Pardon?
Who's going to foot the bill?
Nobody right now. That's why it's kind of being worked on. We're trying to get grant money for them to pay for it. There's a lot of discussions that happen on this. The last time I met with them, they were going to do a smaller building. The building did not contain a bathroom. It did not contain any handicap access. So I advised them that they need to get with the building official. Because it's going to be on township property, it's going to be a township-owned building. I was pretty sure it was going to require a bathroom and handicap access. Turns out it does. So they went back to whoever it was they were talking to, and I have a copy of the estimate at home. Originally, the estimate was like in the $60,000 range. Now it's up to 103. And there's not everything is included. That's just the building. That doesn't include foundations. That doesn't include any kind of a parking lot. Doesn't include hooking up to the sewer. Doesn't, there's a lot of things that still have to be talked about. But I'm trying to get grant money to cover as much of this as I can.
So my question then, and you may not have the answer now, but I think it's important for us as residents, is what is the purpose? What is it going to be used for? Who's going to pay and be responsible for the ongoing costs, maintenance, security for it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
That's all got to be discussed.
Yeah, because
Linda, I understand completely, and these are all items that still have to be discussed. I think they originally were naturally assuming that the township was going to foot all that bill.
Exactly.
And again, it hasn't even been brought up for discussion between the township and that group.
Okay.
So it is something we have to talk about.
Yeah, that's a big number.
Because there's insurance, there's grounds maintenance, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Closed. Could I please have a motion and a second to approve application number 1 as presented?
Motion. Second.
Facilities application, AFCO football and cheerleading, AFCO Wolf, football practice field at Waterford Complex Field C, football field at Waterford Complex Field D, August 1st, 2026 through November 30th, 2026. Mondays through Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays, times to be provided when the game schedule is complete. Hold on, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angiolio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukas?
Yes.
Ms. Jones Freitag?
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Communications, does anyone have any communications to share? Dawn, you said something regarding well? You have one?
There is a free well water testing program the county sent out that I will be putting on our website to be available for any homeowner that has a well.
I think it's a limit though, there's like
There's 20, there's only a limit of 20, so if you want to have it done,
Yeah, go on the website.
don't feel like
Discussions, Lance, Ed, that's you and Andy?
Yeah, so that we had to sit down, Andy, and still go over exactly what
Yeah,
properties we want to have.
Dawn was away on
Yeah.
vacation.
So just so everybody knows, we had a homeowner approach us there's a piece of landlocked property that's just behind them that's not accessible from anywhere else, and we don't really have a use for it, there's no easement on it. And that property owner was looking they approached the town to purchase that piece of property to connect it to theirs, so they can meet the finance requirements for their prior, they had credits on their property that helped them meet the acreage requirements. So while we were doing that, Andy and I were going to get together and look at other properties that the township has that we may not have a use for, and look at selling them off and generate a little revenue for the town, because they really aren't quickly viable. So that's it on the land sale. We'll have to make that happen.
Establishing a library building subcommittee, Andy, have you guys first?
Yeah, I thought that because it takes a while, we need to have a subcommittee to start looking at our options. I believe we have 4 years left on our current lease for our library, and I will be the first to say that in the beginning, I was going to be very quick to say join the county, but by us having a much bigger space for the library and the library staff, I think they have really come up and they've proven themselves in their current facility. And I think it would be possible to maybe look at some other locations where it would be total township owned, possibly increasing the size. But all this is going to take some time. And I'd rather start looking now, have a subcommittee. I would say maybe Ed. Hopefully he's got 3 more years, pass the torch to him. And he would know what's going on for future.
I'd be more than happy to jump on that if I can bring something.
You know, and I mean, if,
The pleasure of the rest of the committee, however that works, I'd be more than happy to work with Andy on trying to work through with that design. It looked like involved in it, and financials, where it makes sense.
yeah, because I mean, him and Tom are on economic development. And then obviously we can talk to you, Bob, for finance stuff, and try to get things done. But me and Ed would spearhead it and try to get it moving.
Okay. Everyone in agreement to that?
Yep.
How does that work? Do we have to take a vote on it, or?
Do you need to vote on that?
Yeah, you establish it just like it did with the cannabis subcommittee and then every other committee.
Okay, so
And we're not taking any notes. We're
We're
not
very
preparing
secret.
any report.
is that a resolution? Are we adding a resolution?
We should make it a point that we do that.
Some.
Yeah, we have
What
that.
number will that be? Will that be?
We will have this meeting, it would be resolution 2026-113.
Okay, so we'll do resolution 113 to create a library subcommittee.
Correct.
Okay.
Library building.
Library building subcommittee, yes, library building subcommittee. Yeah, thank you. Construction permit fees. Ed, everybody.
Yeah, so this one I'm kind of, I'm just kind of looking for everybody else's opinion. So I did a little bit of research on this, and I'm not sure where I truly stand on this, but I had some conversations with our building official, and he works in several other towns, including like Washington Township. I know that's one of his other territories, but we pulled all of the local municipalities' commercial permit fees, and they're charged by like cubic feet of the space. And we're charging 33 cents per cubic foot of volume on a commercial space. So this is like warehouse projects, retail locations, cannabis facilities, if there's something going on that line. And the next closest rate to us is in Berlin Township and Berlin Borough, which is both charge 4.2 cents per cubic foot. So, you know, he's recommending that we increase that fee to get in line with all the other townships. So that was one of the things that they brought up. And then one of the other things they talked about was we're missing zoning applications for solar and generators. And the concern with the generator stuff is if people put generators in there, they're outside of their setbacks on their property. It's technically part of the structure. And one of the concerns was, you know, you want to make sure they are meeting their proper setbacks, so it's not bothering neighboring properties. So I don't know if that's something we want to consider adding to our zoning. I mean, it's up to the committee. I'm really kind of torn on it, but I feel like I wouldn't be doing my job as liaison to that committee if I didn't bring up these concerns that are being brought to my attention. And then the last part of this was, and we probably have to do a little more research on it, and I could get with you, Chief, and maybe we could talk about this, but inspection rentals. So right now, we're only doing fire inspection rentals, it seems like, with smoke alarms?
That was actually resolved.
That has been
It was
resolved?
resolved internally. Yes.
Okay.
We're now doing proper seal inspections.
Yeah, so that was one of the things I wanted to talk about, to make sure we're doing proper CO inspections.
I dealt with that the other day.
Because it's a safety issue. So and I don't want to see tenants, we have 380 rentals in this town. I want to make sure that, you know, people rent properties are safe and they don't have slumlords that are leaving properties that aren't safe.
That was correct.
But it seems like we're up to date on that situation.
That was all correct.
So, you know, if anybody has any comments on it, something we want to look at, something we don't want to look at.
I would have the construction official provide a report to us as to his recommendation for those issues.
That's where that information came from. I can have him write an official report on that.
Submit it to the committee, and if you need to make amendments, we can do that.
Yeah. If anybody has any comment.
Yeah, sorry, but I would be totally against it. We're trying to bring in construction.
I agree.
We're trying to bring in commercial. Maybe that's something we could say, hey, we're a penny and a quarter cheaper than Berlin. You know, we are in the Pinelands. I don't think we need to be in step with the Joneses. You know, we've had, and I'm reading a report that was done from the planning board. PDCs are required for 30% of all home construction. And that's been since 2017. We've had, because now Pinelands is going after homes since 2017, we've had 4 brand new homes built in Waterford in 6 years. 4. It's not even 1 a year. I mean, it's pathetic. So I don't think we should do anything with the fees. I think is what we really need to look at is the escrow.
Escrow is an issue too. That was actually one of the things that was on my notes.
So I think
that's another concern.
I think the escrow fees for development, we're not charging enough, and we have a couple that have went through the process, and now they're not paying us, and we got to pay our
Professionals aren't getting paid.
So
They're not paying their escrow fees?
they're not paying their escrow fees.
Well,
Either because
I think they're paying initially. It's not enough to cover the engineering costs.
Right, so then they're getting approval, but then the bills come in after the approval, and then they don't
So we need
pay.
to raise the initial fee.
The escrow gets completed with a certain amount of statute says that. And they use that for a certain percentage. You then increase it.
I think what's happening is I did look
Here's
into
the
this.
problem. And I'm not going to name the 2 applications, but these 2 applications both got final approval. It went way beyond the $2,000 that were required in the escrow for the application. They got their finals. It might be 3 years before they come in to get a permit. And we've had this situation happen before where we had to go chasing when it took several years, if I recall. Am I correct, Andy?
Yeah.
To get the money. We can't leave our professionals hanging, so we've got to come up with a solution whereby either they got to put more up front, or you got to put something in the ordinance whereby they got to pay it before they get the final approval.
But that's what's happening is those bills are coming in from the professionals after the approval, and the account's already depleted. So they don't know that they're short, and they're not hitting the escrow.
And they're not worried about it.
The council's not looking at it, and then key engineers or whoever sends their bill in after they got their approval for the rest of the services, and it's already depleted. Since they got their approval, or then the project may or may not move, or if it's a denial, then they don't pay.
Can we increase the escrow and then?
The initial escrow fee, and then they get it back if it's not used. Correct.
Whatever
That
is
something
not
else
used,
that's on my
it's
agenda.
returned to them.
Mayor,
There's a procedure set up in the land use law that tells you exactly how to do it.
Dave, I spoke with Donnell Link and also Deb, our planning secretary. They both feel that the average applications come back somewhere around 3,500, and we're at 2,000, so we're too low on the initial escrow. They both suggested we raise that to 5,000. If we can do that, I think that would take care of most of the problems right off the bat, and we should be able to cover everything from there. It's not like we're asking people for more money for what we're doing, we're just asking for more escrow to give back if we don't use it. So there's no real cost to the resident.
Is what I'd like to do is I'd like to have it split. Because we have some people that come in that have to for a garage, an accessory structure. I'd like to have that at like 3,500 for an escrow, but anything else is going to require more, so put that at the 5.
Can I make a suggestion, if I may? I talked to a couple of people today on this topic. Maybe another thing we can entertain doing is having our planning board engineer look at the plans and the application when it's submitted, and let him give us an idea of what he thinks the escrow should be.
I would be okay with that too. The only thing is, I would just want, not a guarantee, but I would want to make sure that, look, we're going to give this to you. Can you do it in 5 days? Can you do it in 7 days? Or, you know, I don't want it to be 3 weeks
Right.
to get an estimate.
Understood.
Or do we just say 3,500 for accessory structures and 5,000 for everything else?
I would go that route because they're gonna bill you, right, they're gonna start digging it right away.
Not the way-
Tell us.
We allow me to provide you what it says in the municipal land use law, other places doing this. We can establish different boundaries in the rest of it, but let me send that to everybody.
Okay, all right, I'm okay with that.
So like I said, I just wanted to bring this up because it was brought to my attention and I wanted to see
It's definitely a problem.
kind of how everybody else look at all this, all of this as a whole. We brought in some new building inspectors and they're pretty passionate about it, so I figured to discuss it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the salt shed, youth grant, their services. I think some of that's you, Andy.
Okay, all right, salt shed. We talked about before, our current salt shed holds enough salt for one storm. If you have back-to-back storms, or if you have multiple storms in a 10-day period, you have 3 or 4 storms, you can't get the salt fast enough. Plus, if you buy the salt during the summertime when it's not needed, it's roughly around $70 a ton. If you buy it and you're stuck, depending on how stuck you are and how bad you want it, you could pay $250 a ton. So, my proposal was, Voorhees just built one, 2,000 ton salt barn for like a little less than 400 grand. Because again, it's gotta be covered, it's gotta be concrete and stuff, it's gotta meet DEP, storage regulations. My recommendation is if you want streets, so when you have a storm, so your residents can go out afterwards, so the police can go out, so fire and EMS can get out, you need salt. And then we would keep the existing salt barn, and we would do a sand and salt mix so that when the temperature is constantly below 20 degrees, because salt stops working at 20 degrees, you use your sand and salt mix primarily for your intersections. Or like we had to shut down Jackson Road by the racetrack out to Chemung because it was too slippery and salt wasn't working. So you could do a stretch of road with sand and salt mix.
Andy, how big of a building do you think we need?
2,000 ton would be fine.
2,000?
Yeah. That's what Voorhees built over at Conley Park. Any council people, you can drive over there, it's open, you can look at it. You don't have to fill it to 2,000 tons. There is the possibility that we could work something out with Chislehurst. Chislehurst has nothing. They buy as they need because they have zero storage. Winslow has an agreement with the county where they do a combination. The county has the salt barn, and somehow when they buy salt, Winslow pays for so many tons to go into the county barn because Winslow is so far away from Lindenwold. Berlin Borough, I'm not sure exactly what they have. Berlin Township has a small salt barn. That's possible that we may even be able to partner with some of the other towns and say, look, we're going to have some extra capacity. Do you want to put 1,000 tons or 500 tons in our salt barn? Because everybody this year, because of the winter and the 3-week complete coldness, everybody was starving for salt.
What did we use this year? Because, I mean, this was a bad year, so what was our salt consumption for the year? Yeah, so far, I mean.
We probably used about maybe 600.
600 so far. What's our capacity now?
Right now, we're probably about 350.
And where are we storing that 350? What's our software look like over there now? I can't
Oh,
remember. Is it just concrete blocks?
It's concrete blocks and it's got the.
So that's holding three.
That's holding three. We get a little bit of spillage out of the front, so we park the front of it. And we do hear issues about that from the DEP, so.
We do have issues?
Yes, we do, because we have to keep it stored.
You're supposed to have a door, it's supposed to have a door on it by regulation.
So we cover it and we put the blocks in the front, but once we do that, we're in.
So if we went with a 2,000-ton building, you're using what, about 400 per storm, you told me?
Per storm? No.
About 120, we said.
Yeah, 150 for like a light storm. We can go anywhere to 250 for some.
Your idea, Andy, of working with other towns would be a good idea. I think it's a good idea to look at it. I think we should take a look at it.
Is that something we think we can get grant money for, or is that something we're gonna put in?
Well, we.
And where can we put it? That's.
Put down public works.
Just stay with public works.
Plenty of room down public works.
Some of that in acres.
That's the ball field side, or the soccer field side. I'm not a big sports guy.
You have to figure out where you're.
What was it, we talked, tried the other day about the LEAP grant?
Yeah, the LEAP grant.
For the facility, but it's minimal.
It's very minimal. Yeah, it used to be, they said there was, at one time it was 10 million, now it's more like 2 million split between all the counties. Right. So it's like 150.
I think 25 grand
It was not much at all.
I think it's important that we have salt covers.
Walk away from
I
it.
think it's very important that we have salt covers. $400,000.
So I think
I mean, that's a
everyone
big-
agrees for salt.
big price
We just have
tag.
to figure out, do we agree on the building and where it's gonna go before we.
Or is it something that we
Again, it's something we can discuss further. Get some numbers together and see what we're looking at as far as the cost, and then look at what we can get in grants.
Yeah, it's just a lot of money. I mean, it's
I
a
can make
big
that,
offset.
I can make that conversation with the congressman and see if there's anything out there.
Can we duplicate what we have again? Like, if you build two of those, and that would be okay if we, because that's, then we double our capacity. If you were there, where it's been. Yeah, but having it would be one of them. What do you have to worry about us?
If it is a shared service, I think that would.
We have, having all needs, right? I mean, we had-
We discuss it and have two plans and kind of see the benefits and the pros and cons of each plan.
We can kind of look through both. and see what the best we do that.
Yeah, I think it's important that we hit our targets, make sure we have enough salt. I mean, I think that's critical for if we can do it. Financial needs in this township.
So we'll continue to.
The gift of what we just had, we feel we should really look at it.
Just so you're aware, just so you're all aware, the building itself is right around $500,000. That's where it's standing. And then we need a truck, a dump truck, to be able to get salt back and forth, which we can use for many other things.
I think triax is critical.
Trucks on the
What I
road.
talked about.
Yeah, use the road, use for everything. So, and that's about another 3 years.
Election facilities.
Okay, yes. We closed off Vineyard Road now, it's officially, you can drive out Vineyard Road, so now you're gonna be driving past the EMS. I don't know if we're gonna be able to have officers at the polling place. So, that's now your main entrance, past EMS.
That may add.
Whatever.
It's
think the problem-
it's very difficult because of the video being close to the park. So the only parking now is in that field there, and the grass which is very uneven and very,
And is that really,
it's not really,
it's not technically proper parking.
it's the county's field district. So, it's definitely difficult to go on the bike there, with the speed of the traffic.
It's not handicap accessible is how they do it. Billy does a great job allowing, they have to open up the garage door, which you can't get in and out.
So you're looking to have it at the public safety.
Like you don't need to know that.
We did this, was it, about a couple years ago?
Yes.
And they denied us, because there was a presidential election upcoming, and they didn't want to change the polling places. So I think now might be a more opportune time if we want to do that.
Would we combine both polling places into one, or would we still keep the senior center and?
Oh, no, the senior center.
Senior is like six, it's like six.
Yeah, I didn't know if you could combine it.
I think the biggest problem you're gonna have is parking.
It's small there.
The public safety building, there's
Yeah,
nothing
but there's
for
more
parking.
parking there than there is in the
Yeah, there's a lot more parking.
So I mean, and then
Okay,
there's
so-
parking and stuff right there.
Where do the firemen park during the day, like during a presidential election year, if they have a call? Where are they gonna park?
They can park on the hill, or they have to call out and have another town come to Waterford. No different if they were at the Wildwood Convention or 4th of July parade.
Chief Sylvia,
Yeah.
Chief, do you have any,
Do you have any comments on
Obviously, the logistics we can work out and figure out where we can park, right? It's Tuesday night, so we're pretty much there anyway for training, so getting there is not a problem. My concern is temperatures, right, of the apparatus. Freezing temperatures can damage our pumps. We'd have to keep the trucks running and circulating water, because if it freezes, we're talking $25,000 a pump if something happens.
We're talking June election and November election.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the November one, excuse me.
We talked about pulling the trucks out there.
I'm talking about the temperatures outside. Yeah.
I think you should train Jews.
Chris,
Use the training.
is there any way to accommodate voting machines in the training room?
Yeah, I don't know how many, like, no idea how many we're talking about.
Yeah, there's only, I believe there's only 4 voting booths.
Yeah, it would fit no problem.
Right, I'm not talking about where you trucks are, I'm talking about where.
Yeah, I just, thought of having to have a couple trucks out.
I know we had a bad winter, but I really hope it's not going to be freezing in June or in November.
Listen, they can do it in April, I don't know.
Has everyone in agreement for Dawn to be able to pursue this?
Yeah, and maybe we could get a letter from you, Chief, saying your safety concerns. And,
Yeah.
because see, the other thing is, you have to realize this, the polling places would freak out if we had police there.
You can't be there by.
Right.
Can't.
So,
Only if there's a call. So
right, so we could not have police
We absolutely can't.
presence there. So it's an issue.
So Dawn, you can follow up on that?
Yes, I will follow up on that with the county.
Yep.
Old business, none?
Mayor, WTCA agreement?
Oh, yes. I don't have that on mine. Okay, yeah, so Tom, right, you have the WTCA agreement?
Yeah, pretty much keep it the same. Not looking to change anything. Just their stipend for the township events that they do.
The current,
7,500. Yeah, same amount.
the current agreement just expired. That's the only reason we need to have it on, is to renew it.
They provide their own insurance.
So that'll be another resolution for tonight.
Committee approved, I can add it to tonight's agenda, and it'll be resolution 2026-114.
Okay.
And it's in the same terms as the last agreement.
Yes, exactly the same.
Okay, everyone's in
You
agreement
okay with that?
Yep.
Ed, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay, old business, none. New business, including resolution and ordinances, introduction of the 2026 municipal budget. I would now like to introduce our Chief Financial Officer, Danelle Bright, to present the 2026 budget.
This is just a minor introduction, just a minor presentation. Usually I will do at the next meeting, since it's a public hearing, and the public can comment and ask questions. And obviously give the chance for the public to review the budget in the next month. It'll be posted online tomorrow, just letting everybody know. This is just a minor little go through it, nitty-gritty kind of stuff. So first, we did begin working on the budget about 6 months ago. Committeeman Joni, the chief, and I went through line by line for all the department requests. The departments put in their requests to us, and then Committeeman Joni mostly goes through every single line item multiple times before we get to today, the culmination of tonight, which is the introduction of the budget. So this year's budget for 2026, we are introducing at $15,579,500 even. That is a slight increase over last year's budget. The average increase on the home monthly, we're looking at a $12 increase on the average home for the municipal portion of the taxes. So again, I will go through in detail at the next meeting. The public can feel free to ask any questions that they want during the public hearing portion. And again, it will be listed on the municipal website tomorrow morning.
Will that include tasers for public works in case we have residents chase them down for snow pushing? Oh, all right.
Okay. Can I please have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance 2026-8 with a public
So
hearing?
moved.
Second.
Okay, ordinance 2026-8, ordinance to exceed municipal budget cost of living allowance and establish a cap bank, NJSA 40A:4-45.14. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Joni?
Yes.
Mr. Conjulio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukus?
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Okay, can I please have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2026-10, introducing the year 2026 municipal budget with a public hearing on said budget to be held on April 8, 2026.
Motion.
Second.
I think I did that in order. Let's see here. Resolution 2026-107, resolution to introduce the year 2026 municipal budget. Roll call vote.
Mr. Joni?
Yes.
Mr. Conjulio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukus?
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Can I please have a motion and a second to adopt resolutions 2026-99 to 2026-106 and 2026-108 to 2026-114?
That would be to 2026-110 and then 2026-112 through 2026-114.
112 through 114. Can I have a motion and a
Motion.
second?
Second.
Okay, I'll read these as quickly as possible. 2026-99, resolution authorizing refund of property tax overpayment for Logic. Resolution 2026-100, resolution authorizing Waterford Township Athletic Association to close various streets for the 2026 opening day parade, Saturday, April 11, 2026. Resolution 2026-101, resolution accepting the resignation of Eric Walzak as a B driver with Public Works Department. Resolution 2026-102, resolution readopting an affordable housing spending plan in accordance with the township's fourth round of affordable housing obligation. 2026-13, resolution adopting the affirmative fair share housing market plan in accordance with the township's fourth round of affordable housing obligation. Resolution 2026-104, resolution approving an affordable housing rental rehabilitation program manual as part of its fourth round affordable housing obligation and appointing Triad as the administrative agent for administering the program. Resolution 2026-105, resolution approving an affordability assistance program manual as part of its fourth round affordable housing obligation and appointing Triad. I just heard that. 2026-106, resolution authorizing emergency temporary appropriations. 2026-108, resolution authorizing application to CDBG 2026 program. 2026-109, resolution adopting Corey Turner as Fire Marshal Secretary. Resolution 2026-10, resolution authorizing change order 2 to Musco Sports Lighting. And Dawn, I have a question. This is looking for a poll vote now, but
So we'll do 2026-112 is a resolution authorizing the hiring of an A laborer, level 1, for the Township Waterford Public Works Department, Armando Garcia Jr. 2026-113 is a resolution creating a library building subcommittee. And resolution 2026-114 is approving an agreement with the WTCEA.
poll vote, please.
Mr. Joni?
Yes.
Mr. Conjulio?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Mr. Yukus?
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Introduction of ordinances. Can I please have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance 2026-9 with public hearing and second reading? Oh, we're not doing this one. 2026-9, you choose this one? This is the bond authorization? Did you say this one?
I did not for it. Was that one?
Was this one for the salt
I
shed?
think you said you wanted.
You want to, we're discussing that one further. Sorry about that. Can I please have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance 2026-10 with public hearing and second reading on April 8th? No, we're not doing that. That's the salt shed. We're building it on the side.
No, it's not just
That's
a
not
salt
the
shed.
It's the bond ordinance. It's the bond ordinance.
Food salt shed?
I thought it
Well,
was
the
on
salt
that
shed
one.
is included in.
The bond ordinance is, it includes. We just talked about it. So you,
Yes,
Yeah.
we're pulling that one.
it's
Yes.
very.
Yep, so,
But by pulling that, are we,
Yeah, but what are you gonna do with that?
what about the other equipment that's in it?
If you just,
couldn't just cut it out today, you have to.
correct,
redo it
yeah,
for
you
the
have to have a
next
whole new
meeting.
bond ordinance.
We have to do a
Correct.
whole new bond ordinance.
Right, so is there any equipment in there that we need
The
now?
actual, give me 1 second.
Because you may be cutting off your big toes like your little stuff.
The triaxles in there and the stormwater retention ponds and police equipment.
Oh, yeah, we don't make them wait.
Well, it's,
You
yes,
get your bolts later.
Any goals? Those, the things that are on there, if you're talking about next meeting, right?
Yeah.
Next meeting's fine. How about you then? Are you good?
Next meeting's okay?
Next meeting's
Okay.
So let's flatten the agenda and.
And redo it, and then have the next meeting. Yes.
What are you gonna do next, Steph?
We're gonna have a motion and a second for introducing ordinance 2026-10 with public hearing and second reading on April 8th, 2026. We're just moving it, we're pushing this along.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Ordinance 2026-10, capital ordinance providing for various improvements by the Township of Waterford in the County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating therefore the sum of $365,000 and providing that such sum so appropriate shall be raised from the capital improvement fund of the township. Full vote, please.
Mr. Doni.
Yes.
Mr. D'Angiolio.
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Mr. Yugus.
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Can I please have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance 2026-11 with public hearing and second reading on April 8th, 2026?
Motion.
Second.
Ordinance 2026-11, utility capital ordinance providing for various improvements by the Township of Waterford in the County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating therefore the sum of $120,000 and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the utility capital improvement fund of the township. Poll vote, please.
Mr. Doni.
Yes.
Mr. D'Angiolio.
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Mr. Yugus.
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag.
Yes.
5-0, motion carried.
Can I please have a motion and a second to introduce ordinance 2026-12 with a public hearing and second reading on April 8th, 2026?
Motion.
I'll second that one. Can I second that one? Ordinance 2026-12 is an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 176 of the Code of the Township of Waterford, captioned Land Use Development and Zoning. This is the ordinance discussing the data centers and our township taking a stand against having data centers. Please.
Mr. Doni.
Yes.
Mr. D'Angiolio.
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Mr. Yugus.
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag. 5-0, motion carried.
Payment of bills, can I have a motion and a second to approve the bills as presented?
Motion.
Second.
And Bob, can you do that, please?
Yes, Mayor. Current fund, $1,592,182.29. Utility fund, $19,584.28. CBS growth, $8,305.50. Capital fund, $58,001.69. Utility capital, $124,380.76. Grant fund, $10,697.83. Trust fund, $14,066.74.
Poll vote, please.
Mr. Doni.
Yes.
Mr. D'Angiolio.
Yes.
Mr. Wade.
Yes.
Mr. Yugus.
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag. 5-0, motion carried.
Open meeting to the public. I now open the meeting to the public for comments. Please note there will be a 5-minute time limit for each speaker.
Nanato, 1740 Howard Drive. I just want to, I guess, establish a couple things. So, a lot of discussion on the surveying of the towns about construction fees, a lot of discussion on surveying other towns about salt. There was a lot of discussion over the last 5 months about budgets and we need to bring revenue in. And there was a quick discussion about a over $500,000 investment into a salt barn. The town's been established since the 1700s, I think, and we've managed to be okay. But we're quickly to build a salt barn and award these ads and buy tracks. And we've also talked about cannabis and that we rushed into putting it into the agricultural district. We didn't do the research, right? In the half hour that we just listened about construction fees and salt, we learned more about what other towns are doing. Has there been any survey of other towns and what their ordinances are? I mean, we have, but has anybody here done the survey of what the other ordinances look like in Hamilton, in Folsom, in Buna, in Chemung, anywhere?
We haven't done provided.
But that's it, okay. And it seems like we've established that there's some issues, so we haven't been talking about hypothetical situations. Talked about an explosion in Logan, right? That was a manufacturing class 2 industrial area. We've talked about odors, and everybody here has smelled them, right? So there's no question whether they smell or not, or whether filtration systems are going to work. We've talked about crime. The greenhouses right on the White's pipe here are getting broken into. Are you guys aware of that? They're selling flowers, by the way. They're getting broken into in their rigid structures. So we've established these facts, but we need limits, but we didn't do research when we put it into agricultural district. My question to the council is, why are we not putting a pause on the ag district? And why are we still continuing to move forward while we're doing research? Because if you do research and you find out that there is some big issue to groundwater, to energy, to the environment, and you didn't do anything to protect the health, safety, and wellness of the community for no reason, not money, we're spending $500,000, maybe $1 million if you do a track. So what's the track? $280,000 at least. And a $400,000 salt barn. So it's obviously not money. What is the reason we don't put a resolution, a first introduction ordinance removing class 1 cannabis, which still doesn't eliminate all of the class 1s. It gets it out of the residential areas. It gets it out of the areas that's inappropriate. What is the reason not to remove class 1 cultivation from the agricultural district when you are putting on record the health, safety, and wellness of the community? What is the compelling reason not to do that? One has been to the planning board. That is the only one that has the rights right now. And that one is on Kings Boulevard. It's not in the ag district. What is the reason, I would like to hear it on the record, that we are putting the health, safety, and wellness of the community on the line while we do research? Can anybody answer that? Because I hope that we don't find something wrong and it's too late. Because you were all responsible for that. We're concerned about lawsuits. We're concerned about all these things. Be concerned about the community and the health and safety. Can anybody answer why we won't hold this up? Why we won't pause it to do the proper research to protect the community? It's on record. Anyone. Why won't somebody put a resolution up right now, an ordinance? First reading. There's only 3 of you up there, so the other 2 are conflicted out. There's only 3 of you up here. We're not saying cancel it. We're not saying it's not allowed. We're not saying you can't smoke your joint or eat your gummy, right? We're saying stop it in the ag district because it was rushed. It was admitted tonight on the record. What is the reason we are putting the risk of the health, safety, and wellness of our community at risk?
Here, here.
What is it? Talk about liability. What is it? Somebody do something to protect this community, this board, from legal action. Because you get an explosion in the neighborhood, you got an issue. Especially because nobody's doing anything about it. And you know it's an issue. You don't know what exactly those issues are going to be, but you know there's going to be an issue. And it's going to be too late. Too late. Somebody put it up. First reading, removing class 1 agricultural or class 1 cultivation from agricultural to protect the community. That's it. It's really simple. It can always go back after you do your research. Always go back. But this would be the protection to the community. Nothing else. Not from outside people that don't live here, that have started businesses that don't live here. They don't count. Look at the finance report. $8,890. Look at the tax report. $6 million. They don't live here. Protect the community. Somebody do it. Somebody.
Same thing, we got a contractor that's speaking with Jeff to get moving.
Okay, I talked about ACCO becoming historic. Have you talked about that?
After becoming what?
Historic.
It is historic.
I mean, really pushing.
We have
All
a
right,
historical
now-
group.
Oh, yeah, but that's for the train station. and we
No, it's
know-
not just for the train station.
Okay, all right, now, about the wood burner, I gave everybody a pamphlet last month about burning our trash and producing heat. Vinny and the chief, I talked to them, they thought it was a good idea. I gave each one of you some thing, have you talked about that, thought about that?
No, I have not.
$30,000 to get rid of our trash pile? Okay, electronics, what exactly, Andrew, you best for this one. What is toxic about our electronics?
Just about everything. You have lead, you have gold, you have silver, you have platinum, mercury, and
So if
some
you
stuff.
dismantled it and you took the scrap metal and you took the plastic, the extra plastic can be thrown in trash.
Plastic.
That could be thrown in trash can, right?
You can try it.
Okay, all right, I answered that. Okay, this one's for Mr. Pat. What if you get an open request and it's false information?
Then you should file a complaint with the committee.
And if I put out 2 open requests and I don't get response,
Again, you file a complaint.
and who do I find to complain with here?
Mr. Stewart, I have an open request due for you tomorrow, the last one I had an extension on. You don't
Well,
have to.
this is not,
Okay.
this goes back years, okay?
Oh, years.
I waited 9 years to speak. 9 years. But what happened?
I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
But you're persistent.
You were then.
I was, how did you do
You
that?
were the lawyer, you represented. Okay, what about, I'm not in this cannabis thing, but
You
if
don't
a
smoke?
if a person gets high, does the state have testing for that?
If they're high driving the vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, but
But you can be high now.
You do, but.
Well, you got a probable cause to stop the vehicle and then you get them out.
What was the testing, blood testing?
No, it's yours. You have officers trained.
So if they can't go, then you can't test them?
Lock them up and go. Here was the order.
All right, we talked last month about buying alleyways. I know 4 residents that would like to buy. I told them to come here, and I don't see any of them here. And I personally would like to buy the alleyway behind my property. But how do we go about doing that? They want to know about this.
What are you talking about?
It's the alleyway between our property, right? Between Bartram Avenue and Auburn. There's a strip of land that used to be used for delivering ice and coal and stuff, and horse and buggy days. And we never use it, firemen don't use it.
We may be going back to horse and buggy.
But
We're
the
not gonna
trees,
sell
the
that
trees are
house.
growing up, and the township doesn't maintain it. Sometimes there's sewer lines there.
You want to vacate it.
But they,
Is
but
it marked on the township map as a street?
it's a paper road.
All right, then it can be vacated.
Okay, so how do they go about doing that?
That's an ordinance, and the people on either side pick up half of the street.
But-
They pay half of the cost.
And how do we determine the price of this?
We asked our engineer to do a survey on the property
And that's,
and describe the area that's being vacated. And we asked our tax assessor to put a value on it.
okay.
Stuart Lane Market.
Oh, I answered the call to the fire. And I did, first storm, 9 fire hydrants at dugout. Andrew, you didn't have one close to you, I'll get to you for later. I did firehouse, I did around here, I did down Aqua Avenue, I first with the fire. So I did it twice. I did 9 first storm and 8 second storm. Next week I will be 70 years old. Okay, owners of property that have fire hydrants, dig out your fire hydrant. If you have a fire, 5 minutes determines the course of the fire. If it takes, they slip and fall, help them. Dig out your fire hydrant. Okay?
Mark, thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Send him a bill.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Joanne Sabasco, 1714 Victoria Lane. I hear that you need to do research, but you know I'm doing my research, right? So tonight, I'm here to present the SAM impact report. It is 10 years worth of data. So you want the data, we have it. I don't need to go back and reiterate myself, but it's summarized. So it's an 88-page report that summarizes everything from clinical studies to data surveys, law enforcement statistics, regulatory reports, public health data. It goes over from the west to the east. And I have to tell you, it infuriates me to know that we've been here 5 months and we're now still saying we have to research it. What more research can we possibly do? We've provided Winslow, we've provided Hamilton, Folsom, Eastham tonight, believe it or not, is voting tonight to do what? Reduce the number of retail dispensaries. Why? Because one closed up and they're protecting their residents. So that another one doesn't go in that spot or a different spot. Imagine that. I voted for each of you. I expect for you to protect the residents of Waterford. So, let me move on because this report covers our youth exposure, the odor complaints. It's not something we're making up. The impaired driving concerns that our police officers have to deal with day in and day out. And I'll be the first one to stand up for our police, fire, and such, because I'm strongly that kind of person. They come first. Ask my children. I can't even explain how embarrassed, how aggravated. I am losing words right now. But Andy, you say we have 4 new homes in Waterford. What makes all of you think someone would even want to come and build a house in this township? The impacts around indoor and greenhouse cultivation requires, as you heard tonight, the energy, the water, it brings out the chemical inputs. I don't even need to go on, except for this is your proof right here. It is a government study. You need to each review it. I didn't provide a link because honestly, I don't think you're even looking at what I'm presenting to you. Or else you'd have facts tonight. Because I've provided them. So I took the time, you have 88 pages. It is all backed up with references. I work in clinical. I know the shit I'm talking about. I have this down. The long-term effects, once cannabis operations are established, the impacts on communities and land use is extremely difficult to reverse. Do I need to read it again? Because I honestly do not think all of you are looking out for us residents of Waterford. The careful zoning, strong setbacks, and meaningful safeguards are essential before expanding cannabis operations. We need to work with what we have and stop it. The community future, these decisions are shaping the long term of Waterford Township. And I'll be back because I have some more.
It's kind of hard to listen to 1283 all the way to the fight. I hope I stay within context this time. Again, my one concern is the community engagement with being notified. Again, social media is everywhere, but having a facility that I have researched myself and have found that they have put in the state of New Jersey just recently for a cannabis processing facility, which is on a property which is in a residential area. It is about 4,000 feet away from Waterford Elementary School, 2,000 feet away from a church that's on the corner of Old White Horse and Pennington. and only 4 miles away from Curaleaf, which is a huge, one of the biggest New Jersey state cultivation facilities around. So I just asked because just by coincidence, I did get a certified letter today from Waterford Township Zoning Board of Adjustment saying, just please be advised that we are given written application has been filed by the undersigned for conditional use of variance pursuant to minor site plan approval to permit the development of recreational Class 1 cannabis cultivation facility. It basically goes on to tell me block and lot number the property is located at. A public hearing will be held on March 23rd at 6:30 p.m. in the municipal building. I am just curious to know if we have anything.
So from a planning and zoning perspective, what happens is when somebody comes in and they make an application to the planning board and it's going to require variance, they get a list of property owners which are in X amount of feet of that property that's affected. 200 feet, right? I couldn't remember if it was 200 or 250. And they'll mail you out a certified letter stating that that's going to be coming before planning board, so you have an opportunity to come in and.
Okay. Well, I don't live in Monroe Township. I live in Waterford Township.
Yeah, right.
And I live about 100 feet from the property that is.
Was that letter that you received regarding your property or something?
No, it just happened to come to me. It actually, the mailman got a kick out of it because he said he delivered it to my entire, like you said, property lines
But this
today.
isn't related to your application.
This is Monroe.
Yeah, it was just a mistake.
So it was a mistake.
We don't know, it was delivered to us today, we don't know.
But my question is,
But it's not the attorney's not Monroe. Sometimes the letter will come from the attorney. but it's related to-
it was from the law office in Sunday.
It identifies the property as being in Monroe.
As in Monroe,
Okay,
yes.
yes.
But my question is, I live within 200 feet, not even 100 feet. My property address is 1283, we're talking about 1294, which is as pretty much as far as you and I are standing right now. To have a Class 1 cultivation facility. Now, mind you, after doing some research, because again, I just so happened to find this on Facebook one week. I've come to find out that there are 8 different types of cultivation license in the state of New Jersey. And mind you, I don't fault you for not knowing, because the state of New Jersey just legalized this only a few years ago, but it is each municipality's responsibility to, as Mr. Wade said, you have an option to say yes or no. So, you know, there has to be, when something like this is submitted, as you just stated, is there notification that a resident would get if we are in a
Absolutely.
general? How come that wasn't given when?
It hasn't,
He hasn't been
they haven't come
planning.
before the board yet.
Okay,
So
so
once it's
he
reviewed, they can
submitted it,
date.
it's gone through, I guess, just the state of New Jersey, and then it goes through a process.
They submit to Waterford Township, and Waterford Township will look at that application and deem it complete. I'm not sure where it
Okay.
stands.
And can
he's
anybody
prior to
do
getting a
this?
hearing date.
Excuse me, he has to, he will have to notify everybody within 200 feet before he gets a hearing.
Who is he? The people that are looking?
Whoever it is.
The purchaser, because I'm trying to figure out how a residential home that is property classed in Waterford Township, 3A farm, who has come to him, or is he selling to a cultivation facility named specifically Emerald Farms LLC that presented this to the state in February of 2026? I'm trying to put pieces
He
together of
has
how
no
this
planning board
happens.
approval.
Okay, so it's the Emerald Farms that has, they're putting in the application, that's what has to come to the planning board?
Yes.
Okay. So with the education, as I said, I don't knock you because this is brand new, we don't have this in our town. You do realize that there's impact assessments that have to be as part of the application with the Cannabis Regulatory Commission in the state of New Jersey. Before a cannabis cultivation facility can be established, developers are required to conduct impact assessments to evaluate potential impacts on neighboring properties, such as traffic congestion, air quality, and property values. Would we be made aware of that? And this is what I think, not only myself, but everybody here this evening is asking for you to take consideration. Because I also am in healthcare. I also do know the environmental impacts of what can happen here with cultivation facilities.
Continue to wrap it up, because your time is.
Okay. Water usage and pollution, energy consumption. One pot plant can consume up to 6 gallons of water per day during peak growth periods. Curaleaf has 120,000 square foot facility with 100,000 plants in there. Times that by 6. What will that do to our well? What will that do to our soil? What will it impact us environmentally as well with the pollution, the VOC factor, which is environmental, that's going to go into the air, and especially in a residential facility. And just to wrap it up, I did read somewhere on the Waterford Township site that you voted against in late 2025 having anything cannabis related in a residential facility? I saw this on your website.
I'm not understanding your question.
Cannabis cultivation in a residential facility, the township voted against?
Just saying a residential facility.
In a residential area, I'm sorry.
No, they didn't.
We're trying to get it out.
Right now, the ordinance.
Cultivation,
No, not residential.
not in residential. So something like this, what I'm standing up here asking about, which is in a complete residential area, shouldn't even be a topic at hand.
Not if it's zoned residential.
It's zoned residential.
It's a commercial.
There's nothing commercial about Old Boys Horse Club.
Well, that might not appear to it, but the zoning may say that it's agriculture. It might not seem it to you because they're houses, but the zoning may say something different, so it's what the actual zoning
Okay.
says.
If you want to know your zoning, you can come in.
Yeah.
And you can ask to see the zoning map.
Okay.
You can see a zoning map. I'm not sure if it's online or not.
Okay.
But you can come and see, and it'll show you what zone you're living in.
Okay.
Or what zone another property is.
And that is the township's, at your discretion, to determine whether it can go into a residential area or not.
Yes.
It's per this CRC, it is. So that's the only thing that I ask in closing, that you would consider that, because in a residential area, again, when we have open areas like the Acura Raceway, why put it in the middle of a residential area as such? It's just not appropriate. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Oh, okay. Are you guys here?
Yeah.
I know you've been waiting a long time. Everybody's open in front of you.
Good evening. My name is Ava Donato. I'm 11 years old and I live at 1740 Arrowhead Drive. 4 months ago, I stood here and talked about why having cannabis close to my elementary school worried me. I spoke about wanting a safe place to learn and play with my friends. I shared about what my lead officer has taught us about making healthy choices and staying drug-free. I'm here again today because it feels like the voices of kids and families in our community are not being heard. For 4 months, many people have asked you to think about the children who go to school nearby, but it feels like the council keeps choosing special interests and money over the community and its kids. Kids like me don't get to vote, and we don't have money or businesses asking for things. All we have is our voices and the adults who are supposed to protect us. We learn in school that doing the right thing isn't always easy. But it is still the right thing to do. Our teachers and our lead officers tell us to stand up for what is right, even when it's hard. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm asking you again to please think about the children who walk into our school every day, who just want to learn, play outside, grow up in a healthy community. Please show us that our community puts its children first. Thank you for listening.
Middle Avenue, just to get back to what she stood up and said on Old Waver's Pike. Everybody in that area today and everybody on Shoe Road got a letter from Emerald Farms, and that's why everybody was upset because it's from their lawyer and it's for the facility on the Old Waver's Pike, but it wasn't. It was for this facility in Gloucester Township. So how could a mistake from an attorney, that's a big mistake.
That's interesting.
Everybody got it today.
We had a phone call.
Yeah.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
So the attorney sent it to the wrong people?
Everybody on Shoe Road, Emerald Farms attorney, everybody on Shoe Road and Old Waver's Pike got this letter today.
But it refers to
You gotta make sure that's done, because it'll delay their application if they don't have proper notification.
That's interesting.
Oh, that's a shame.
Especially for divine intervention, since today we had a lot of money for that. How come the conflict, I know we talked about this last month, the conflict attorney And you guys seem like you would be okay with him coming to these meetings to help out, and why is he here?
Because today, we're just making a recommendation for him to write up the resolution or change the revenue ordinance. So there's not really a whole lot we can answer until that's completed. So there's not much else that can be done.
Can you really like take out the manufacturing part too, because that was so scary what happened. Like, I know you, whatever, like research that one, that was another crazy one that manufacturing, we don't need that.
Yeah, that happened after our meeting. So
No, I know, but I'm saying going forward, please talk about the manufacturing. It's bad. It's the worst part of it. And that should by no means be in a residential area near us, because we have one proposed for that. Actually, Emerald Farms on the Old Warriors Pike to Highlands has indoor processing as well as cultivating, but in the town, they only have a letter of support for cultivating, and they're going back and forth, and letters, and pulling it out and putting it in. So you know how everything gets followed up on this town, whether it's zoning or codes, nobody follows up on anything once it goes through all the boards. Nobody looks back and says, oh, they didn't put that fence up, oh, they didn't put the trees up to go with what we told them for their conditional approval. So what do you think is going to happen with that? With manufacturing, he's not going to have it. And now his lawyer just sent everybody in the town this letter for another town.
Okay. The engineer goes back before they issue a CO on any home that's built or any facility.
Well, I
And
know.
they go through and they're supposed to do a sign off.
But it doesn't happen. I know there was a planning board issue with one of the places, and they didn't do something, and a resident complained, and they had to send him a letter, and never was followed up on.
Yeah, let me know what that is and I'll look into it.
Well, it
After
got
the-
followed up
after the-
on because it got reported after the fact
Okay.
by somebody else.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. I mean, that's supposed to happen before a CO is issued to the zoning
I can tell you the
department.
story.
The engineer
after
has
the
to
fact.
do it.
I just
I
don't
don't-
want to tell you the story now.
Yeah, that's fine. You can fill me in later, but I can look into it.
John Ellis, if we're putting this in an ag district, like we said tonight, we just had a huge fire in Logan Township that was really, really big. I mean, not to mention around the house. But lately, I've been hearing rumors of raising homeowners insurance because of us being into the Pinelands for Florida. So what potential to homeowners insurance would it be to go putting these big facilities with no water to fight the fire? You want to have something like that catch fire next to your house?
And I don't have the answer for your question.
Well, did anybody even think of all this stuff? I mean, like it's been said, we're just jumping through hoops and keep doing stuff, but you could ruin our homeowners insurance could go through the roof. The other thing is, I just lost my well, I had to get a new well put. You know how much a new well costs now? $10,000 plus the tax. Okay? Plus if you have to get a hold of it. So you're talking $12,000 to $14,000 for a new well. So if we put these giant things in the agricultural area and it's taking all the water out of the ground, what's going to happen to all the rest of these wells? Does everybody here have an extra $12,000 or $15,000 for a well? I sure didn't. But if our homeowners insurance goes through the roof because of this, they're looking at the fires that happened in California. I have a friend who's been notified down the road that his fire insurance may go up because of being in the custody. We have to really think hard. For $8,000 a month, or I don't care what the money is, if everybody's going to tell you all this extra money for insurance and get wells, what's the point? I mean, this is getting ridiculous.
Jesse, in testimony, 641 Castletown Road.
Wait for you.
We kind of talking past each other, 5 months, subcommittee, doesn't really matter. We kind of know they've already expressed what their opinions are, that investors have already spent money, and they feel like they don't want to pull it back. So we already know that the subcommittee's in that direction, right? And you're coming up with reasons to keep it alive. What is your reason for wanting it to stay in the ag? What's the subcommittee's reason for wanting it to stay? 3 voting members, what is it? You think you're refusing to get it out, right? Because you 3 members could do it. What is your reasoning that you're still stuck on? So maybe we can understand a little bit, instead of just talking past each other. Like, why do you guys feel it should stay in the ag zone?
So the subcommittee isn't discussing any one individual, whether it should or shouldn't. We're just looking at
The one gentleman came to a meeting 3 months ago, and he actually expressly said, this is going to happen, guys. The investors have put out too much money. He said that. So that's an opinion. Now, maybe he's not expressing on something. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm just saying. So we've heard that. So it's there. What is your reasoning for wanting it to stay in the ag zone? Even if you take time and you do 2, 3 sites per class, but they're in more of the commercial areas, Haynes Boulevard, things like that. We're not even asking for you guys to eliminate it altogether. You have your dispensaries. That's not what we're saying. Ag zone. Let's stop talking past each other. Let's understand where you guys are coming from. Why is it you wanted to stay in the ag zone?
I can't speak for someone else.
I can you speak for yourself. I mean, I'll listen to you.
I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion is, I think it would generally belong in an ag zone, but
Right.
that's like a bad place. I understand our ag zone is not quite as agricultural as other areas, so it's something to be concerned about. But I mean, in general, I would support an ag zone.
What about Waterford? What about Waterford?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Our ag zone is not really the same as in other towns, so I'm not entirely sure.
Perfect. That's what I want to know. So we didn't know where you stood, and now we do. So I understand.
Because it is not as open spaces as.
I'm more along the lines of what the state recommended, right? Obviously. So that's where I have the property. I could be doing this. I don't want the money. Guys like Matt have the property. They can be doing it. So it's not all about, oh, you're jealous because you don't have the ground. You can't take the $1 million payouts. There's people in here that have the ground to do it, and they're choosing not to, right? And that's not it. So now I understand that you feel that it's crop growing. And that's fine. That's your opinion. That's what I'm looking for. The other voting members, what's your reason for wanting to
I
say?
have ag property, neighborhood business property, land highway business property.
Absolutely.
I've opted not to do any of it.
Yeah, right. But
not-
you
just
could
not
make,
something-
but you could bring it up tonight. You can put everybody on the record. You can say, hey, let's
Well,
do the ordinance
my-
like Matt was speaking, but you're not doing it
I can tell
either.
you my concern and the
Yeah.
reason why we did ag in the beginning.
Yes, sir.
Like I said before, we have one property that's planned, that's industrial.
Sure.
That was at the same time the track was being sold. Okay?
Absolutely. Completely understandable. It was rushed, not thought out. I get that.
But that was that.
But now, what is your reasoning for not wanting to take it out of the ag?
Because there are some ag places, I
Mhm.
think, further down on Chew Road
Okay.
that are decent for it.
That big, that's not our option. Our options are right on my backyard. We have 2 going on Nettleville. So that doesn't matter.
Right, so,
Right.
well, I'm conflicted in my mind. How do you pick and choose which ag zone?
You can't.
And I can't.
So let's get it out of ag, because it's not, right? That's an easy conflict to resolve. Get it out of ag. Move on. I'm not, no, I get it. I'm not speaking.
Right.
I'm just looking for
Because-
opinions on, let's just stop
and-
talking
and
past
that's-
each other. Right.
I've been very open
Yeah.
to the public since she's been coming. Ask about subcommittee, I'm the first one to raise my hand. I get shot, I get shot.
No, believe me, we
yeah,
appreciate
but
the forwardness, absolutely.
I'm forward with it.
Yeah.
The problem is with Waterford, we've got 29% of Waterford Township that is not the Morton Forest. So how much do you have left to develop?
But why do you want the
So it
marijuana
was-
industry in ag? Is it money?
I thought it would be a good fit for some farmers to have cannabis in the agricultural zone.
I got you.
Only to grow. I was good with only grow.
Now, did you think it was just going to be a cute little greenhouse in somebody's backyard?
No, I didn't think it was going to be 100,000 square foot. But see, we didn't put restrictions on. Now, like other towns have put restrictions.
It's not too late.
Minimum. Wait a minute. Minimum of 100,000 or more.
Right.
I was more like for the small guy, the guy that wants to put up a 10,000 square.
Well, you
foot
see what's
building,
happening now, guys.
5,000.
We got people pouring concrete in their farm buildings right now, hay buildings right now. They're doing that.
Yes.
So there's your answer.
they're all for it.
Good evening, Suzanne Nicholson, 451 Whitehorse Pike. I'd like to start by saying that I'm not in any fight with the agriculture zone. That's not my piece to say, but I just want to correct some information, I believe some misstatements. And Chief of Police, I would like you to speak up regarding this because there have not been any crimes in Waterford related to cannabis since we've opened. You have been a
I could
participant.
never make that statement.
Well, there have not been any crimes
I
at
could never make
451 Holistic Solutions, Chief, and there's a matter of record. There have not been any nuisance violations. There have not have been any requests for disturbances. You all, meaning the Chief of Police, asked for our records and our surveillance cameras because we provide business services to the municipality. There has not been one crime incident at any of either of the dispensaries. I own a dispensary. In 2022, I submitted a survey to the Pinelands Commission along with the Wetlands Commission for Phase 2 for 10,000 foot in a planned highway business that was approved. That was a Phase 2 project. We're beginning our Phase 2. We have never lied to anyone in this committee, and we have been partners in this community. But more importantly, I think that people talking about crime, I think there needs to be clarification and education. I teach retail for the state of New Jersey. We've been good business partners. So when people are talking about issues, hemp is an issue. There's illegal hemp that's being sold in many municipalities. As of April 13th, there is a directive by the governor that goes away. So we should be concerned with making sure that hemp, 699 gummies, 1,000 milligrams, that is more than our regulated facility, which we're not allowed to carry, nor would I carry. I'm a mom. It's not safe. But are being sold in your one-stops, your gas stations, and your other related places by people that there's no age gating. You're not collecting any 2% tax. Not at all. But you have underage children that I visibly see going in these facilities and pursuing intoxicating hemp. One explosion is too many. But that explosion was related to hemp, not regulated cannabis. I think that there's a misnomer of the industries, and sometimes one gets a bad reputation than the other. We are a regulated facility. I'm a medical facility. My youngest patient is 2 years old. My oldest patient just turned 99. So I would ask that we educate ourselves about what's happening in this township. We appreciate the opportunity of doing business here. But we are good partners, and we do not want to have misinformation about things that are not going on. And we hope that our business partners would support us in these things, that clearly that no crime is happening in our area. Thank you.
Couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
Hi, Bill Lockley. I'd like to start off by saying that people in this town, when it came to vote, people in the town voted for cannabis to be here. My background in cannabis is a 30-year cultivator and processor in California, and then started down in Jersey the last 5 years. I'd like to bring to the point that the explosion at the industrial
Did you
accident...
announce our addresses? Are they not being
I did.
held at the same time? Okay.
You did.
800 Judith Lane.
I didn't hear.
Well, I'll give you my card.
Thank you.
Okay, please, thanks.
So, the explosion that happened at the industrial place that the gentleman was talking about in Logan Township was not only they were processing hemp and not cannabis, as they did for cocoa butter, but it was what's called a closed-loop system using either propane or butane. As we all know, they're highly volatile things to be used. I don't support them in anything that I would do with cannabis. It's not the proper way that it should be processed, in my opinion. But there's ways that it can still be processed that wouldn't have any fire or explosion happening if we strictly did a ice water wash with it, cold water, ice water, and then a heat press. So there is things that your subcommittee, and I don't know how I'm not on the subcommittee, being the biggest pothead that lives in this town probably. But anyway.
Everybody wants to be on the subcommittee.
Well, I want to be a consultant for this subcommittee. I don't want to be on the board. Because I think I can teach the subcommittee a lot of things. You guys have a very tough thing you're trying to navigate right now. Let's face it, cannabis has always had a stigmata about it. Some people still carry that stigmata, some people let it go. So you have to try to make the people that are in the business and the people that support it happy, as well as the people that don't support it. You have to try to keep them happy. So you have a very fine line to try to navigate. I'd like to offer my consultation services to the board. A couple of you up there have my phone number. If you need that, please reach out. I'd like to reiterate that once again, cannabis causes 0 deaths in this country for overdose. Okay, I'm a 40-year smoker of cannabis. If I drank alcohol for 40 years, I'm sure I would not be here.
I don't go. Didn't know you were a doctor.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
don't
go
act
ahead,
like
please.
we're gonna allow, it's funny how we're gonna allow with the resolution that you guys passed, look, I don't care what anybody does, as long as it's not hurting anybody, it's not my business, but we're gonna allow a resolution that allows 5 or 6 people to sell alcohol in this town, for people to consume alcohol outside. So, I mean, it's like we're so easy on the alcohol industry, but yet the cannabis industry has this horrible stigmata about it.
In your backyard.
My biggest question for the night, I'd like to ask the chief. Chief, as being in the cannabis industry and spending a fortune on licenses and things like that, it kills me. Just like the woman that spoke before me, I watch people go into the gas station and buy cannabis. I watch them go into the smoke shop and buy cannabis. And just like she said, I've seen it before. 18, 19-year-old kids, there's no way they were 21 years old. I didn't ID them, but I know I would if I had a store. What are we going to do about these hemp products being sold? Because I know there's a big push coming up. I think it's March 15th is the deadline. March 16th is the deadline. And I know the state police have already had a task force at hand to enforce this. I'm sure you know because you're shaking your head yes. Are we locally going to start enforcing this the day of the 15th, or is this something that's just going to linger on and we're going to turn our heads to it like we turn our heads to the illegal massage parlor and prostitution brothel that's on the White Horse Bus?
We will respond to calls or anything that is reported. We will not be.
I'm sorry, never mind. We're not going to
read.
freeze.
We won't. ATF will. So that's their job. That's not a local job. If we get reported, no, we will investigate.
Okay. Thank you.
1740 Arrowhead Drive, Waterford, New Jersey, Matt Donato. I respect both. Susan, we had a great conversation at the last meeting, actually. And I just want to clarify what this group is because people get confused with, we're not against the legalization of marijuana. We're not against the consumption of marijuana. People could bring up that we voted for this. We voted for you to smoke a joint, eat a gummy, sit on the couch, right? We didn't vote for a 150,000 square foot greenhouse in an agricultural district around residents. That's what we are fighting right here. What Susan did with the Wells Fargo Center next to the funeral home, incredible job. Incredible job. It's a great business. It doesn't cause issues. The concern is on the cultivating. And the gentleman over here, very educated, obviously. And he went into detail as far as what is safe and what is not safe. This council can't define what a secure building is.
State did that.
The state, you have the choice to define what a secure building is. You could say no greenhouses. A chain link fence is secure. I don't care if it's 15 feet high. Bolt cutters don't care how high that fence is. Grew up in greenhouses. You know what we used to do? Stick our finger through the 6 mil plastic. I don't care how rigid the frame is, 6 mil plastic. And after a snowstorm like this, take a ride around, look at the greenhouses, what happens? But I want to make it clear that we support Susan. I don't know where she is. Susan, I appreciate the conversation we had at the last meeting. I support what you do. I support what you do in bringing facts as well. But my focus here is, it's agricultural district, and Mayor Jones-Freitag, your comment to Mr. in testimony was, in general, I'm okay with it in the ag. But how do you feel about it in our ag? Because our ag isn't ag as you're envisioning it, right? You have horses, you have a barn. Now, what would happen if your neighbor decided to build a 18,000 square foot greenhouse facility with your 2 girls next to it? How would you feel about ag?
I know I wouldn't be happy, but it's
Okay.
not just, I can't just think of myself. I do have to think of.
I'm asking you to think of all the people that have been in this room for 6 meetings, 5 months straight. Mr. Wade, it was about money. It was a rush decision about money, and we didn't have a lot of spots for it. Planned highway, that probably makes a lot more sense than rural residential. The raceway, yeah, we still have to protect the aquifer, but money isn't the reason to put the community in jeopardy, is it? So we've taken health, community, and safety for money because we didn't have a lot of areas. Now other towns, if you notice, they're on the edges of everybody's town. So they've done a very good job of carving out where they want those. Take the time to think about that.
And I'm curious about Mr. Doney, Councilman Doney. What is your reasoning for, again, putting the health, safety, and wellness of the community on hold, pretty much? So we got
Let me
money.
answer your question. I want to set your expectation, if I may. Okay?
It's not very high, so let's go.
Good. Well, there's nowhere to go but up then. Right? That's right. Okay. What the subcommittee is focused on and studying now, okay, is how to mitigate or resolve a lot of the concerns that your group, if you will, or the group, has brought up in terms of odor, security, safety, lighting, transportation. It is not studying how to not allow this to happen. Okay? So I want to make that clear. What we're studying are some of the concerns you guys have put forth. Okay? That doesn't mean, based on all the work this young lady's done and others in terms of research, which has been looked at already, doesn't mean there's not an awareness and a sensitivity to everything you're saying. Okay? But right now, we're not looking at not doing agricultural or not doing manufacturing or not doing it in certain areas or certain zones. That's not being looked at right now. Does it mean it won't be? No. But right now, it is not. Is that a fair statement? Definitely.
Why not?
I think, yes.
So why do you want to keep it, so with all that research, and you find out that the restrictions that you need to put on for odor, or the process for making sure that you're extracting properly is not done in a way that creates volatile situations, what happens when you decide, hey, we need to do this, this, and this? And it's too late because you guys decided not to just put it on pause. What then? Sorry, guys, we missed that one. I'm sorry, but the council took a lot of my time. And I'm asking you why you wouldn't put it on hold, knowing that those could be potentials. That what the gentleman just explained here is absolutely true. Absolutely true. But we don't have anything in our ordinance.
You're asking me a question, I'll make it clear. Right now, I would not put it on hold. That doesn't mean I
But
wouldn't.
why?
That doesn't mean.
Why?
Because we're not studying putting it on hold right now. We're studying how to mitigate the problem. Okay? And it puts us, in my opinion, it puts us in a position of liability. Either way.
You're liable right now because you're saying that if this goes forward as the gentleman says it, just like the Logan Township facility, and I know they were doing hemp, but there's still same extraction processes that you would do for the oils, and you put manufacturing in ag, and you find out that, hey, that's a bad idea. What he says is a great idea, right? We need to put some limitations on that. Well, guess what? We just approved 3. Do you guys know how many letters of support you've provided for manufacturing class 2? Do you know how many? 6. 6. So while you're waiting, 6 could be approved in the way that this gentleman says is probably the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, there's someone else who hasn't come up yet. I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Miriam Benicassi, 1681 Conrad Avenue. I would like to ask you to please take into consideration what Matt was asking. I know you're saying you may not hold it, but we're really concerned as neighbors. We've been meeting together. I really think that you have to take into consideration what we're asking you to do. I'm opposed to having the growing and cultivation in my backyard. I really don't like it. Talking to everybody else, we don't like it. But we're afraid of our water systems, we're afraid of the air. Truthfully, we like the serenity of our environment. I've lived there for 50 years, I love it. As everybody else has been there, probably not quite as long maybe as I have, but I'm just going to ask you to please take that into consideration. Thank you. Sorry.
I think we're getting somewhere a little more that I hear about everybody's reply here tonight, especially from the committee, with regards to being full transparent here. I think the questions are being asked, and us as residents, you're hearing our opposition to this, and asking and pleading, please take a look at all these considerations. But the more that's coming out here is being revealed that you have thought about this. You are against saying no to it. I've seen your eyes light up.
Against what?
Against saying no to putting a stop to this. You do agree that it should be in an agricultural?
Generally speaking.
Okay, and what does that mean?
Yeah, when I think of agriculture, I think of bigger, wider, open spaces, so that to me is not problematic.
Okay.
I understand our ag is not necessarily as I picture it, so that has to be weighed, but, I mean, I can't take away someone else's right to do something, so I have to weigh it fully and fairly, and that's, I hear both sides of the argument, I look at both, I just have to see
I asked them, and also for full transparency, what are you aware of that is happening with regards to Old White Horse Pike? Because I live there. I watch what goes up and down the street. It's basically a dead end because the bridge is out. I watched 25 concrete trucks last summer go up that dead end.
A day.
A day.
We told them that.
Nobody's done anything. They're gonna hold all the
What
other.
is 25? I'm talking big,
can't imagine.
round,
They're already doing the
concrete.
building.
They are doing the building. They are taking down trees. They have marked out all the way up the street.
Eddie, that's
Wouldn't you be aware of any of this? Is the township?
They're not
Is
following the
there
rules.
zoning? Is there planning? Is there anything that has come? Let's have full transparency here tonight. Listen, I think that, I don't understand. So if this has been approved, again, where are we going with this? Because again, my concern, as everybody's concerned, the environmental factors here. The gentleman who's a cultivator, I'm sure he can tell you, this isn't just pot plants. And again, I've had people pot. Great. The lady who sells it, thank you, wonderful, appreciate it. There's cooking aspects of this. It's not just growing a plant. Okay, there's extraction processes, there's cooking processes when it comes to the edibles. There's butane, methane, hexane. The CO2 that pot puts off when it's in its grow phase is unbelievable. And we want to talk about money. What is the benefits outweighing the risks here? Because yes, we might get a very short monetary amount for bringing this business into our town. But are we prepared as fire and police when there are explosions? There is crime that's going to be there because again, people are going to try to jump fences in an area that is a dead-end street. 178 employees work at Curaleaf. If you took 178 people down the street of Old White Horse Pike right now, you'd be crowded completely.
Middle Avenue.
No sidewalks, no, nothing. So you need to take that into consideration that it's just more than growing a plant here. We're not talking the Garden State of tomatoes. This is very volatile. That what's going to be putting us, and then the smell of it. What are we going to do when, Waterford Elementary has their field day and the kids are throwing up because they smell this stuff? Because Curaleaf still has the problem.
But the other
So
side,
are we prepared for the catastrophes that could take place when they aren't regulated, when they are going against what they're supposed to be doing? Our wells are drying up, our groundwater is polluted. You have out there posted from Owens Corning, which was up on, I was on Jackson Road for 22 years. I get Owens Corning notices still because I own property out there because it polluted the ground. They were responsible for cleaning that up. Who's going to be responsible for cleaning it up after the fact? So think about that impact as well of what it's going to do to our residents as taxpayers and, on healthcare. What's it going to do to us when 20 years down the line we realize like half the residents have cancer because of the off-gassing from this stuff? We're still finding out about what the vaccines did with COVID only a few years later, but pot again is still too new in this state when it comes to cultivation on what's the research? Who did all that research? That's wonderful. Right there you go.
Would you like to see it?
I know what it is. Just please consider it, all that. Thank you.
And just make sure there's no
Please
permits.
do. You have my address on record.
Whatever's
Knock
going on
my
there,
door.
it's
I'll
not
take
directly
it for a walk.
related to county. I don't look into it.
Yes, it is.
Something's
Yes,
going
it
on.
is.
So,
Yes.
Joanne's Vasco, 1714 Victoria. You know my address. Come visit me, say hello. 1714 Victoria Lane. So, we stated that we weren't sure we're aging. Let me just make the record clear. Not many municipalities around us have cannabis growing in AG. I understand we don't have the industrial park or this and that, but make it known that multiple municipalities in this state do not have AG for cannabis. Folsom, Literally, and I sat here, or I stood here last month or the month before, and I stated, Folsom sat there and identified what blocks, areas, the whole 9 yards where cannabis could be grown, sold, etc. It's right here if anybody wants to look at it. Winslow, the property that we're all talking about tonight. Winslow. On the other side of that bridge and on the other side of the Waterford property line of Emerald or whatever is Winslow Township. Okay, Winslow Township doesn't allow greenhouses. Imagine that. It's in their ordinance. Go check it out. There's no operations shall be conducted outside except for inside a building. Let's paint the picture. We have a bridge out, like the woman said. The recent package was rejected, okay? I want to know if you can sit here and say to yourself, yeah, we're prepared for that explosion to happen. You have one road in. You can't guarantee the paper roads are going to be open. We're up against the state bars. We're up against the school. We have Wharton Run directly behind it. How many houses are in Wharton Run? I don't live there, but I'm looking out for them. The housing that is property that has all the housings along Shoe Road. How is this even possibly being discussed? And then you go on, and I find out the landowner had a fire last year. He's a stump grinder. Okay, great. I love stump grinders because I always need one grinded. So come see me. But that's not what I'm here for. It's my understanding that it's a stump and wood chip. So now we're adding a cannabis facility that could potentially add fire risks because we have electrical in the greenhouse, right, Matt? So now we have fuel for the fire. To let it go even further. Makes a great setup, let me tell you. Last year, the person had the permit, but was burning on a windy day. I know from my side, if you're burning, and I live up against the woods, and I witnessed a fire behind our house, am I right, John? It was scary as hell. I don't want to relive it, because I was packing my bags. I was packing my things for my kids. So you're talking to the wrong resident in Waterford Township to sit here and say that it belongs in ag, because I know for a fact that there is no municipality around here that has it in ag, and I think somebody is bought. I feel like one of you are bought out, and it's one of you that is protecting the other. And I'm telling you right now, you don't just have a lawsuit from an investor, you may have a lawsuit from residents. Oh, and here's your summaries. So more, on fire seat.
March to report, Your Madam. This is a question to Egg. If you don't pay your taxes, you can't get a permit.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
That's correct, okay. So if I, right now I'm behind my taxes, so I can't rebuild my house until I pay my taxes, right?
Yes.
So withholding my taxes would be bad for me right now.
Yes, it would.
Okay, all right. Do landlords need to register? I know of 2 properties. Yep. Is there a list that I can get for landlords that registered?
I'm sure you could go for requests. I don't know if that would be considered private or redacted based on the code.
There's not a listing of all the rentals, but you could, Oprah, if there's a listing for a certain property. We don't have a list, I could look up by property.
They do have registered though.
Yes.
Okay, and I heard a rumor, and it's probably not true, and I'm sure you're gonna clarify it, that, where the Acco movie theater was, it's supposed to be cold storage, right?
No.
It's changed now?
First building is not cold storage, but the way they're building that place, pretty much anything can go in there except for what we use for commercial.
So.
An IT center.
Just a warehouse, that building.
They can't have hazardous materials and stuff like that either.
So the warehouse can be anything.
We can't have hazardous materials in this facility, anything that would be unsafe.
Now,
like that.
Mayor, we talked about my situation. Mosquito season coming up pretty soon. Will anything happen to this?
You're on the next, the Auburn
About
Avenue
my
is on the
yard
next
flood?
road list.
What's that?
Auburn Avenue is on the second road list that we're developing right now.
How far away are we?
I'm providing a proposal for next month and we'll get working on the design, so it's
Okay, thank you.
probably a fall construction
Good night.
This is like suicide. Rick Ainsley, 1925 True Road. I'm one of the original owners of the Honeybloods, my partner. We were the first two people that had it. So recently, I guess you guys gave Emerald Farm the opportunity to have next to me. So we have a little conflict going on. He's within 1,300 feet, so you guys got me against the wall. So with that in mind, I suggested moving down True Road all the way at the end. I don't know all the woods around me, and we're still waiting for you guys to do something, to look at our paperwork, our attorney stuff. We had no response yet. So we hear the residents. We're getting out of the town, basically. We're gonna be on the edge of Hamilton and Waterford. We have two neighbors on board, no complaints. And I hear the township, I understand their frustration, especially when it comes to manufacturing. I agree with them. You shouldn't be doing that farmland or in ag, you know, I have a honeybee farm, and when I was trying to, Highlands came over one time and said I couldn't build a pole barn to bottle my honey because it's processing. So it's kind of like a target. So I asked. Sorry, Ian, but anyway, so I asked Highlands what's the difference between a combine going over corn and taking off the husk and having it as shelled corn, and she couldn't answer it. She was kind of dumbfounded. So I asked you guys if you guys could do something, is suspend Emerald Farms until our resolution is moved. We're kind of in a different district, but the farm's been there for over 100 years. And I think the township residents will probably appreciate that. On the outskirts of town, 2 houses, and I'm surrounded by my own woods, 30 acres plus the state woods. So I asked you guys to look at the application, the attorney sent you guys. So let's at least prove to the township, because we're going organic. And I understand the frustration about pesticides, chemicals, I get it. But a lot of farms around here who have farms, they put a lot of Roundup in the ground. So we're going organic, strictly organic, 2 grows a year, no lights, and that's it. That's all we want. And I understand the frustration, that's why we're moving to the end of the town. So I hope it helps the township residents understand what we're trying to do.
And by moving it at the end of the town, you're still in agriculture?
Yes, but it's Pineland preservation. But, I'm not trying to be a smart ass to you guys, I respect you guys, but our ordinance says 1,500 feet from another cannabis facility, and that was allowed for Emerald Farm to be next to me. So, because I know if I have to go through a variance, and plus too close to school, I get it, I understand, that's why I want to be out of town, basically. So I think it would be a good thing, I hope the township residents will agree with me, but that's what I'm shooting for, and not to get shot at. So, thank you.
Closed session is now over.
Mike stood up. Yeah.
Good evening, Mike Ward, 2345 Auburn, Mayor, and Mr. Yukas, a couple comments. And Dave, you tell me if I'm out of my mind, but under the Uniform Construction Code authorizing statutes, the fees that are generated by a municipality are supposed to be used to cover the costs of the construction efforts and that office in the municipality. One of my biggest fears, and I've discussed this with Mr. Giangilio many times, is the fact that developers are coming to this town for commercial purposes not only have to deal with our fee structure, but also now they've got the Pinelands review fee structure. And frankly, we've had conversations with developers that say, we can't do it. In fact, one of them who is not, decided to walk away from it, we basically articulated that. So I'm very, very worried about enhanced fees for construction purposes. I'm also very, very concerned about enhanced fee for ESCO purposes. Frankly, if I have an outbuilding in a residential area, and I basically want to be involved in a construction business of any type as a homebound business and I have to pay $3,500 escrow for approvals, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Even if I'm a good contractor, I make a lot of money, it's still a lot of money. And I think most of our residents in this town appreciate the fact that we've got a very good planning board, a very caring planning board. I've been involved in this town for many, many years, as you all know. And I think this is the best planning board that this town has had in my experience. Just wanted to say that, Mayor. The other thing I wanted to say to you is that where we are right now in the Pinelands, we're in the regional growth management area of the Pinelands. Pinelands has designated management areas throughout the Pinelands area, Pinelands region. And why that's important is because each Pinelands management area has certain benefits and certain obligations and certain restrictions. We are in the regional growth area, right where we stand right now, and that's supposed to be the most pro-growth, pro-development area, and the restrictions reflect that. Where Waterford Works is, for the most part, unfortunately or fortunately, is in an agricultural production management area. And one of the things that's important to know is that both the Department of Agriculture, the New Jersey State Department of Agriculture, and the Pinelands Commission recognize that the agricultural management areas are suitable for cannabis. Mr. D'Onofrio knows this because he went to the Pinelands Commission in December and raised this very issue. And Chuck Horner, Mr. Horner, Director of Regulatory Programs, Chuck Horner, said to him, the Pinelands Commission views the agricultural cultivation of cannabis to be agriculture. That's all they look at it. Listen, what we have to do as a township, Mr. Doney, I've spoken to Mr. Doney about this extensively. If we're going to allow cannabis in this community, even in the ag zone, we have to have restrictions in place and requirements in place that I think will protect most of the concerns that have been articulated here tonight. And the reason I say that most importantly is because we are not the first township, we are not the first state, we're not the first country to be dealing with the concerns that are being articulated here tonight. We are coming in and we have the benefit of a lot of technology, of a lot of processes, of a lot of experience in other places where we can address a lot of the issues there tonight, that were articulated tonight. And I think that your cannabis committee, of which I'm trying to be part of, can do a good job in that respect. And I think we can allay and address a lot of the concerns. Thank you.
Closed
Oh,
Wait, I have.
But you never answered any more comments.
You didn't ask anything.
You just slammed it.
Yeah.
What's the number?
Jesse and testimony.
Excuse me.
The mayor's in charge, let her speak. Oh, I'm sorry, I just was gonna.
Okay, this is the last call for comments.
No, absolutely. Jesse testimony, Council Temper. It would just help if we had a line. Money, I mean, I could count maybe, is there 20 people that are looking for this? What you just said, it's allowed, and Pinelands said it could happen. Okay, great. But the majority is saying no in the town. You guys represent us, you know, whatever.
Majority is saying no?
Waterford. What, do you have 600 people that want you to build? Or do you have 600 people not wanting you to build? That's what I mean.
2/3 of the votes that were taken.
That's not good.
Stay
It's all right. It's all right. Again, what's the why? Are we protecting the 20 people that want it? Is it money? Is there something going on in the background and you're worried about who's going to pay your bills next election season? Just give us the why. And then we'll respect that. More than just, well, 3 years ago we had to do it, or, well, if somebody wants to do it in the future in some other designated spot, like Rich, I get that. What he was just saying, it's farther away, I get that. Right? But that's not what our option is. We're not saying, all right, well, we're going to stop the people that want to do it on Middle and Old Warriors Pike and Pennsylvania. We're not saying that. We're saying we're going to let all of them build so that maybe someday somebody will build in a more appropriate, like everything that you guys are saying. You're talking past us, we're talking to you, and nobody wants to agree, so we're just, you know what I'm saying, we're just talking at the wall. It would just help if there was a why, other than just, you see both sides, I get that, but that's not, in all respect, it's not a why, it's not, you know what I mean, because there is no other side other than the 20 people are going to make money. You know what I mean? It's not like the majority of the town is going to get in on this thing, and it's going to be a lot of money for everybody. You're talking 20 people. So that it's not that. You know what I'm saying? It's not, well, we got to do it because the 20 want it. Like that, you know what I'm saying? So just give us the why. Is it money? Are you expecting the town to make millions off of this? Yes?
That was the
Tax money? Okay, so there you go.
Payers pay less?
That was the expectation.
You lower our taxes by half?
Now,
Yes, sir.
that was the expectation.
Yes, sir.
You'll be able to sell our houses.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just not gonna wave a magic wand and say, oh, we're just gonna eliminate them, we're gonna put them on hold, we're gonna.
Just in the ag zone, you mean?
Pardon?
Just in the ag zone, you mean?
In any.
We're not trying to do away with the cannabis industry in
We're not
Waterford
gonna
Township.
reject the
Right,
ag
ag
zone
zone,
or
right.
anything
No,
else.
that's why we're here, for the ag zone.
So, and I know you're not gonna like me saying it, but hey, guess what? You don't like a lot of it. The fact of the matter is, all these things have to be studied aggressively. Okay?
I understand. I agree with you. I agree with you. But we can pause the ag zone while we study.
No, we're not doing that.
That's your opinion.
No, we're not doing that.
I understand that you're in charge. That's your opinion. So I want to know the why.
You have 2 minutes left. March last.
The last meeting,
We just need a why. Let's move on. Maybe we don't have to come to the next meeting. Maybe if you give us a good reason why you're fighting this, we'll say, the lost cause.
You have to give it a second.
I understand you want to study it. I agree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong for that. But you could pause the ag zone while you study. You could do that. But there's a reason, and there's a reason why you're not taking the option to pause the ag. Oh, obviously, they're not worried about elections anymore. What's the why? Is it money? I'll respect that. Is it money? If my property taxes are going to go down?
No, they're not gonna go
No,
down.
you said it was, at the beginning, they were thinking there was going to be a lot of money. It's not anymore.
Past tense. The investors are gonna get the money.
Just give us the why. That's all I appreciate
This is
it.
the last one because we didn't.
Yes, thank you. So I'm,
This is our last public.
I'm the last one.
Based off of
Uh,
what? What if
Christian
there's
Central,
other public that want
Prairie
to get out?
Line. You mentioned money, right? Did you?
Tax revenue.
Oh, yeah, okay, so tax revenue, okay, great, that's wonderful. I want you, in your research, in your research that she gave you, what I also want you to research is how many small cultivation farms fail in California or go under within 5 years, okay? So what's the building how big's the building behind you that they want to put?
Well, there's one on Pessington, it's 150,000
So
square.
150,000 square feet. So picture this. They open. They ain't making money. They're not doing as well as they thought they were going to. What happens when it closes down? What happens when we're looking at that big-ass building in an agriculture area and it closes down? Where's the money then? Right? Who are you selling it to then on a failing business, right? I want you to research Colorado, everywhere it's legal, and see where small cultivation farms do not last. They get bought out by Cureleaf. They get bought out by big business. The man that was here, I'd like to know his opinion on that. Because I did my research in California and Colorado, the 2 states. Eddie, you're in the planet, you build shit, right? I want you to look it up too. 150,000 square foot building. We're going to be looking at another rating. Now it's going to be in a residential agriculture area. Like, come on. Come on. And $8,000, what was the revenue this year, or this month? That doesn't pay for one Hannaford student. Do you know that? When was the last time you guys went to a Board of Ed meeting?
Didn't pay for the lawyer.
It didn't pay for the lawyer. Okay? Let's think about this logically. I don't want it. I don't know smoking pot because I'm not a pothead. I don't give a shit. So I don't like any of it. But yeah, sorry, pardon my French. I voted no. But I respect her business.
Thank you.
You know, I do. I respect it. You know, but you got to think about this. I want you to think of it from a standpoint of how many stay open small cultivation farms. Thanks. Oh, I do have one more thing. I love the police. I love the fire. You guys do a great job, wonderful job. Thank you. We have a noise ordinance in town. Tom, we've had this conversation. We have a lot of new police officers. You have a couple people retire. You got a lot of young guys on the force. I want them to research the noise ordinance. There's been a couple times past summer, we're outside on a Sunday night, 10 o'clock at night, and my neighbors behind me, I hate to be a Karen, but the neighbors behind me are blaring music. I call, the non-emergency line. I'm not even anonymous anymore. I call the emergency line, and every officer that's come out last summer, besides one, said our noise ordinance was 10 p.m. It's 8 o'clock or dusk, whichever comes first. Okay, so would you just like me, I actually emailed you, I laid about my email. If you could just like maybe put a little, have a CEU class on it or something. I don't know how you guys do that, maybe a little. No, it's 8 p.m. or dusk for loud music. I don't need, yes, every day, Monday to Friday. And if it's construction noise, it's 8 p.m. or dusk, or on Sunday, 7 p.m.
It was changed.
It was changed, 2018, April 25th, 2018, it was changed. Oh, sorry. So, the noise ordinance was changed in 2018, so it's just like, maybe put a little memo, email out to your officers. Have a good day.
Closed session is up. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2026? Attorney-client privilege, oral housing, can I have a voice vote?
Nobody answered why. Nobody answered why.
Can I have a voice vote?
Because they want to make that minimum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? We are adjourned from closed session at 10:01 p.m.
Reconvene the meeting.
Motion.
Thank you. On a motion and a second.
Wait, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay. To reconvene the public meeting at 10:52.
I'll do a roll call. Committee Doni had to leave during closed session. Committeeman Julio is here, but in the restroom. Deputy Mayor Wade.
Here.
Committeeman Yukis.
Here.
Mayor Jones Freitag.
Yes.
All right, let the record reflect, there is going to be one decision that's going to be made tonight. The mayor needs to have a motion to extend the moratorium on issuances of letters of support for another 90 days because it will expire the end of this month.
Can I motion that?
You can motion.
I can motion.
Second.
And that's it. Bob.
All right, I will take the vote. Mr. Doni's not here, so Mr. Wade,
Yes.
Mayor Jones Freitag.
Yes.
You are the only two here that can vote on that, so.
Approved.
Can I please have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second. Meeting adjourned at 10:53.
All in
Yay.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? We're adjourned.
Just made it.
Mayor's probably seen ghosts now.
If you want